Just keep it real. Big John Steele. Tell me how you feel. Convince me where the top go. Just keep it real. Big John Steele. Tell me how you feel. Convince me where the top go. Jesus is king. Big John Steele. Jesus is king. Big John Steele. Bro, you don't make any sense. Slow down a second, it's making you tense. When I be talking, just don't interrupt. I say the truth, you get salty for what? Give me an argument, not an assertion. I'm almost convinced that you're not a real person. Why are you galloping? What do you gish? Topic to topic, you flop like a fish. Say what you're meaning while being concise. Still got my taco, I ain't leaving Christ. Learn to just listen, get wrecked by a Christian. I think you might have a special condition. I debate all of you Muslim and atheists, witches and wizards and new ages. I roll with Jesus, you still get defeated. You won't change my mind even if you repeat it. Just keep it real. Big John Steele. Tell me how you feel. Convince me when the top go. Just keep it
What's
real.
up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Tell me how you feel.
Everyone hear me okay? Everything's coming in loud and clear?
Jesus is
No
king.
issues?
Big John Steele. Jesus is king. Big John Steele. Give me some logic, I just wanna know why you so toxic, bro. I'm on a roll. You wanna troll me, I'm shutting you down. I be too busy to suffer a clown. Say that you hold a position, defend it. Linda, I know you don't listen, let's end it. It's your own fault that you're stuck in your state. I just move on if you come in bad faith. Don't say that I mean, I say what I mean. I'm showing love, pull you away from the thief. You run away, you afraid of you weak. Bro, I don't play, I can make them retreat. You choose a deceit, ain't making me nervous. For those that I reach, I've been living my purpose. This ain't at all about the money. Money. Trying to lift up the soul of his gum is real. Big John Steele.
Money.
Tell me how you feel. Convince me when the top go. Just keep it real. Big John Steele. Tell me how you feel.
Convince me when the top go.
Jesus is king. Big
John Steele.
Jesus
is king. Big John Steele. What's up, folks? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's having a good Friday. It is a long weekend for us. I got plans this weekend. I got everything set up and going the way it should go. Somebody asked, are we going to get spicy John or subdued John? I don't even know yet. I have no clue who's going to come into the picture today. No idea if it's going to be that Christ-like John or if it's going to be that Elijah John.
Jesus is king.
Don't know. Your taste in music is terrible. Your taste in life is terrible. Everything that you've ever done is a disappointment. Your parents are disappointed in you. Like, you're on the internet, you can't even put your own profile picture, your own name on nothing. Bro, I might have bad taste in music, but just like everything that you've done is just a big disappointment. Just a big disappointment.
Just keep it real. Tell me how you feel. Convince me when the top go. Jesus is king. Big John Steele. Jesus is king. Big John Steele.
Christian rap is so hard to get into. It is. Most Christian rappers sucks. Most Christian rappers are like mid, but because they're Christian rappers, they get by because there's not much out there. So it's like, but they're like mid. They're like mid at best for their skill and talent. Mid. Like you're not gonna find a Christian rapper who's got bars like Royce da 5'9", right? You're not gonna find a guy who's Christian spits like NF. NF is a rapper that's Christian. I wouldn't call him a Christian rapper. Andy Mineo is the best Christian rapper. Gifted Hands is okay. He's okay. I'm talking technical ability. I'm not talking about whether it's enjoyable. I'm not talking about whether it's fun music. None of that nonsense. I'm talking about technical ability. The ability to use complex patterns. The ability to, change up time signatures. The ability to do things like that. Right? Like, Andy Mineo is the best out of them. Lecrae probably coming in close second, but he's still not that great. Like, that's what I'm saying. They ain't bad. But you ain't getting nobody coming out doing like listen, man. One of the greatest songs ever for like technical ability and storytelling is Mona Lisa by Lil Wayne and Kendrick Lamar. You will never get a song that good from a Christian perspective. Never. Like, bro, the talent was unreal. All right, let's do a quick prayer. Lord, guide us today, walk with us today, be present with us today, allow the Holy Spirit to move through us. Let's smite some heathens. Let's take them down, Lord. Let's start a crusade. But ultimately, let it be your will that ultimately happens today and not ours. And yeah, just give us the Spirit and guide us and don't let us fall astray. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Hallelujah. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Are we ready? We ready? Hold up. I need this loud today. I need it loud. Need it loud. You need to be smashing the like button, sharing the live, guys.
Stand fast. Stand fast, Christians, believers, soldiers of the Most High. Steel your hearts. Grip your weapons. Fix your eyes on the enemy, for he stands before us now. This is not the hour for fear. This is not the place for retreat. This is the field where legends rise or fall. A day may come when our shields are broken, when our blades run red, when our bodies are cast to the dust. But it is not this day. A day may come when evil marches unchecked, when the enemy believes we are scattered and weak. But it is not this day. This day, we make war. We strike with holy fury, with fire in our lungs and steel in our hands. We charge with the roar of heaven behind us and the wrath of righteousness before us. Let them hear the thunder of our boots. Let them see the fire in our eyes. For we are not merely men. We are the army of the living God. Raise your swords, warriors. Raise your shields, defenders of the faith. Today we don't run. We ride. We clash. We conquer. We bring the storm. We bring the reckoning. We bring the war to their gates. By the blood of the Lamb and the power of his name, we will not fall. We will not fall. Now fight, fight for glory, for honor, for the King will not fall.
Let's go. For Frodo. All right, let's do it. All right, guys. There's no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong, win a taco. You can join at tinyurl.com/BJS guest. Yes, I did it. Yeah, I did it. What are you going to do about it? If you want to join the conversation, password is 12345. That is the only spot I'll be taking guests. Do not try to join on TikTok. If you want to join, you have to join at the tinyurl.com/BJS guest. Password 12345. Because your religion is stupid. There is no good reason to be a Muslim. There is no good reason to be an atheist at all. And I'm looking to hear if there actually is one. If I'm wrong, come up and tell me why you don't need to validate your worldview, why you're the exception. Anybody interested in that conversation? I'm sorry, Ashley. That sucks. I'm sorry about that. That's heavy. That's really heavy. That is... I don't even know what to say. I just hope you have friends and family to grieve with. That's all I can say in that situation. That's awful. So I have chosen spicy. I don't choose the spice. The spice chooses me. The spice chooses me. That's what happens. I don't choose it. It chooses me. Come on up so I can get paid to argue. Yeah. Yes. Is that supposed to be a shot? What do you get paid to do? How's flipping burgers? I put the fries in the bag, bro. What's your advice for a young minister? I try to learn while I'm young and live when I'm old. I don't know. I have to know what your life is. If you're looking for advice on ministering, go to your spiritual leader. Go to your pastor or your priest. Lord, that's because atheists live in reality and you live in a fairy tale land. Hey, Ryan Jones, come on up. tinyurl.com/BJS guest. Password 12345. Let's have a conversation about that fairy tale land. Come on up. Flipping burgers here pays $20 an hour. Okay, maybe I should flip burgers. maybe I'm doing the wrong gig. Should start flipping burgers, bro. Wow, flipping burgers, lovely Christian here. Yeah, if that whole like you're not acting very Christ-like anytime a Christian says something that could hurt somebody's feelings, clearly you've never read the Bible. Paul literally told people to cut off their own dicks. So that's literally in the scripture. And Paul says, emulate me as I emulate Christ. New setup? No, this has been the setup for a hot minute. I did change a lot of things and technically in the background yesterday, but I guess it's a new setup for the shorts. Oh, speaking of which, I gotta go. No, I'm live on the shorts. I got a bubble in my throat there. Keyboard warriors, my friend. Keyboard warriors. Is there a good objective reason to be a Christian? See what they do? They shift the topic. Yes, because the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. That is a good objective reason to be a Christian, because Jesus Christ died on the cross and rose from the dead. What is a good objective reason to be a Muslim? Because your book has got pretty words in it. All right, guys. Once again, if you want to join the conversation, tinyurl.com. I don't even need that HTTPS there. You could just remove that, make that easier. tinyurl.com/BJS guest. Password 12345. The real ad pop. What? I didn't even give an ad populum fallacy. I didn't even talk about what was popular. You must be arguing with someone else, because you're definitely not coming up into the queue. John, what's for dinner? I don't know what we're having for tonight. Yesterday we had what do you call it? We had taquitos. They were great. They were so good. They were delicious. Guys, make sure you're smashing the like button, sharing the live, doing the things you need to do to get the guests up in here. Because if I'm gonna have to keep talking to you guys, we might have to switch it over, and I might have to start going out of the people's lives. Might have to start seeking other people out. Amen, Amber. Amen. Taquitos. Why do you promote a cult on TikTok? Because it's fun, and it makes me money. Money. As the U.S. Department of Commerce. See, even the U.S. Department of Commerce supports me. See? Glad you're doing a call-ins so soon. Thank you. Well, I think I needed it. Too much sitting in your own depression. You got to get up and start doing things. Right? Eventually, you just got to start getting up and getting back to life. And just get back to the normal. Now that's a real Christian answer. It's all about the money. Yeah. Why is that wrong? Why is that wrong? Come up and give me the objective reason why it is wrong to want to make money and take care of your home. Because you're a grifter. That's just an ad hominem. Notice how you guys all hang out in the chat. You are all scaredy little cats that hang out behind a keyboard, clickety-clack and type away because you're too afraid to come up and have a real conversation. Cowardice behavior. We had a conversation about free will. You didn't actually engage in the equivocation of the definition of free will. I bet you I did. And I bet you just didn't like my answer. Right there in first book of opinions. Grifter's always mad. I'm not mad. You haven't seen me mad, bro. Still just keyboard warriors. No, you did. Shall I call in? I'm literally telling people to call in. Can we get W's in the chat? Let's see let's see a monkey dance. It's true. If you get you money, If they throw you money, you got to dance like a monkey online. That's how it works nowadays. That's how it works nowadays. If they throw you money, you gotta scream W's in the chat, and then you gotta dance like a little monkey. That's what they do. That's what they do. That's what those political debaters do all the time. They don't even listen. They don't even listen to the person they're talking to. They just like the person they're having a conversation with. They're just constantly, Lucy, thanks for the $50 on PayPal. Jimmy, thank you for and they just keep going. And then the person they're talking to is like, bro, can we engage at all? Now, granted, I've done that too, but oh my God, he's wearing a cross. So hilarious. Explain the joke to us. Why don't you come up and explain it to us in detail? Well, I thought someone joined, but then they didn't. Can I just get a taco? Sure. Email me your address and we will give you a taco if you want one. I'm so free today. Okay, you're free today. Well, maybe. No, I can't because I don't have it set up on the shorts. I forgot to set it up. I have it set up on the horizontal, but I don't have it set up on the shorts to bring your camera in. We'll have to do that another time because I actually spent. I'm talking to John, by the way, because John texted me and said, I want to join you. I spent all last night setting it up so it'd be easier to bring in guests, and then I forgot to do it on the short screen. I did it all on the horizontal screen. Have I seen the most expensive taco? What's the most expensive taco? No, I haven't seen it. Hakshin, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Oh, 1 second. Try again. I can't hear you. That might be me. Just give me 2 seconds. I think it is me. Try again. There it is. Gotcha. All right. How old are you? All right. Let me bring you in, man. All right. There's no good reason to be Muslim. No good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. Go ahead.
I would say I agree with the first prompt. Second one, not so much. I think that there's decent reason to be an atheist.
What is it?
So I don't know if you remember, I've come on before and I just said pretty much I'd take the null hypothesis that there's no God, and I haven't seen good evidence to think that there is. So kind of like anything that people say exists, I say that I don't think it does. So yeah.
So basically you're saying I haven't seen it, so therefore it doesn't exist?
No, I don't have to see stuff. I say that there's not a good reason to, not that I've seen it or not.
Okay. Do you say the same thing about aliens?
Pretty much. I mean, it depends. I think that there's a good hypothesis, but there's not super strong data. That's a little bit less clear. It's a little bit more ambiguous.
No, that's not the question I'm asking. Do aliens exist?
No. As far as
aliens
I know,
do not exist. No. Is it far as I know, or is it no?
No, they don't exist as far as I know. Because that's how, like, in my mind, that's how like reason works. I kind of try and go with like the scientific method, or I don't know, like just kind of stuff like that. Like in science, when you're trying to figure out what's like real in the world, you take the null hypothesis. So
Okay.
I failed to reject the null, so then I take the null.
So you're saying aliens do not exist?
Correct. There hasn't been sufficient evidence to say they do. I think that there's a decent chance.
Okay, so what are you gonna do when you're gonna hold on? Now you're saying there's a decent chance that they do. So is it they don't, or I don't know?
So we can get into like the philosophy of science and the concepts of like falsifiability if you want, if that's where you're going.
Is it I don't know or no? Which one?
It's no. I failed to reject the null hypothesis so far, even though I think that there's a decent chance, and that there's
okay. So you're
you're
just giving like an oxymoron here. You're saying no, they don't exist, but there's a good chance they do exist. You understand how stupid that sounds?
No, I don't realize how stupid that sounds.
How do you not like if I say something does not exist, but I think there's a good chance that it does exist?
Sure. So
Do you not see the contradiction there?
If you'd like to, I can get into. So let's say that there's a pilot study for a new drug coming up.
Mm-hmm.
If I am looking at research for this new drug, and the pilot study shows that it could be efficacious and safe for people, then I'd say there's a good chance that it will be for general populations. But I still take the null hypothesis that it doesn't, and you have to wait till there's a second and third phase trial with the FDA.
No, you're taking
So
the
that's just
principle of
how, like-
caution. You're not saying it's not good for people. You're taking the principle of caution and saying we need to know all outcomes before we make a decision.
No, not all outcomes.
Yes.
No.
Not
No,
all
that's not how the
outcomes,
FDA
but it's
works,
still the
no.
principle of caution. You're saying we need to take as much test as possible to know that it's safe. You're not saying
think
no,
that's-
it's not good. You're just saying we're not going to implement it until we know. Basically, you're saying at this point, I don't know. You're not saying no.
Yeah. So in my mind, what I'm doing is I'm acting that I'm not going to take a drug that's on this, like the first trial.
Yeah, but you're not
Because
saying
I'm
no.
not.
You're not saying it's bad for you. You're saying I don't know if it's bad for me yet, so I'm going to take the principle of caution.
There's a little bit more nuance there in,
No,
in
there
trials,
isn't, bro.
but
It's
that's not.
it's literally
hold on,
there's
hold on.
three options.
I'm talking about
No.
trials. No, I'm talking about
It's-
trials right now,
it's-
and that doesn't
it's
apply
not-
to our discussion.
It's not
So we'll
as
skip
much nuance, right? There's three options. It's either yes, no, or maybe. What's the fourth option outside of that?
There is no fourth option outside of
Right.
that. I'm talking about how you act in the universe right now.
I'm
If you
not
want to
talking
talk
about
what
acting.
I
I'm
think,
talking about knowledge
Okay.
claims.
yeah, sure. So as far as aliens go, with respect to aliens, I would say that there is no aliens out there.
Okay, so you're just saying that there is none.
Yeah, there's at the very least self-forming amino acids that they found, which is actually pretty interesting. Can lead inside into abiogenesis.
So
but
what
outside of
is
that,
your
no.
what is your argument for the fact that there are zero aliens, that you haven't seen any?
Yeah, we haven't seen any. So
Okay,
you
so
take-
for
you
all of
fail to
history,
reject null.
when we haven't discovered things, they just did not exist, and then when we discovered them, they poofed into existence.
No, that's not a reasonable thing to think at all.
Well, it sounds like that's what you're saying.
I'm sorry if I misspoke. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I've failed to see any evidence that they do exist, so I'm not going to act as if they do.
I'm
Like,
not
if
asking
I'm-
about your
let's say I'm a-
actions. I'm asking about a
Okay.
knowledge claim, right? So it sounds like
So
what you're
if-
saying is I don't know, but you're just refusing to say I don't know.
No, they don't exist so far.
So when we
Like, if
find
you're
them, then they
Viking-
poofed into existence?
I'm sorry if I misspoke, John. No. Let me try and think about this so I can make it more clear. Do you care if I offer you like an analogy here about Vikings, perhaps, and static
Yeah.
and electricity?
Yeah, go for it.
So Vikings didn't know about electricity or electrons or anything, or the static that would cause between different atmospheric pressure areas, and them going over, traversing the ground, and running into each other as well. And so that creates the static electricity, which causes lightning. But they're like, oh, there's Thor. What I'm saying is that if I was a Viking then, it would be reasonable for me to say that there's actually not Thor yet, because we haven't seen Thor. And I'd say there's just lightning, Do you think that's unreasonable? Because as of right now, I don't
Yes,
think
that's
there's
unreasonable to
Thor.
say no. It's unreasonable to make a knowledge claim of a negative if you do not have sufficient information.
Okay, in what respect do you? One second, I'm getting a call right now. How long are you gonna be on?
I don't know until I get bored.
All right. I might call in later.
All right, bro.
I'm sorry, I gotta go. Bye.
All right, peace. How's the audio levels, guys? Is it even? Are they too loud? Am I too quiet? I don't know. Let's bring in the next guest, guys. There's no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong, win a taco. Come on up. tinyurl.com/BJS guest, password 12345. Tax, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, let me bring you in 2 seconds. All right, no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong, win a taco. Go ahead.
Sorry to break your a bit of your prompt here, but as a former atheist, I would like to have a conversation. I'm assuming you're Christian, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I have this question in good faith. I hope you realize that, because I know that most atheists are very not in good faith when they come with their presuppositions. So I just wanted to ask you, how do you make sense of morality being chained into God? Do you buy the divine command argument, or are you more like a natural law-ish argumentative from like morality? How do you make sense of it? Because I find a lot of issues with
What is
divine
the point
command.
of what is the point of this conversation?
The point of the conversation is to know how you make sense of, like, for example, if an atheist were to say to you, if God were to say X is now good, does that make it good? Because that's problematic, and I don't think that that's
Well,
actual.
let's say that yeah, it is divine command theory. So what?
Well, then an atheist could probably say to you something like, okay, so then if everything that God says is to be good, then he could just insert anything that's obviously not good. Were he to say that, then does that make it automatically good?
If he did, what would be the problem with that?
That things are in perception not good, as in, like, well, let's say that God commands you to do I don't know, killing X sorts amount of people,
Yep.
thing that he never did in any part of the Bible. Like, of course he sent to kill some people, but that's not the point. Like, I'm trying to insert something, like something that's clearly obviously very wrong to do, and the atheist just says, okay, so this is wrong to do, and God just says that it's right to do, then it just so it happens to be right. You
If
would say
God
yes to
said
that?
that water was now a solid, what would it be?
Right. So you, okay, I get that. So you're saying that since he's like the beginning of reason, then like everything that he
No,
says or
I'm
does.
not making an argument for divine command theory. I'm just like I don't hold to divine command theory. But even if divine command theory is true, which a lot of old church fathers held to, what's the issue with it? Right? The only reason that we have moral law is because God wrote it on our heart. If He changed it, we would see it differently, would we not?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Okay. That actually gives that gives good clarity. And second is what do you think of the Muslim appropriation of Christian churches right now? As in, like, past the Christian churches, like Hagia Sophia in like Turkey, where they just take it and they cover the Christian symbols, and then they just don't allow Christians to walk into their previous church.
It's time
Because
for a crusade. Let's do it.
all right, I see.
You down?
Okay.
You
I
want to
mean,
join? Me and you?
honestly,
We'll start it
I
together.
I think it's
How's your sword swinging skills?
they're not that good.
We can work on it.
I'm more of a preacher myself. I think I'm working towards it. That's why I'm asking people like you, like-minded people, to see what they think. And I think everyone thinks the same. They think it's not fair. Neither do I. So okay, that's good. Thanks for the combo though. That's been
No
good.
problem, bro. I appreciate you. God bless.
That was-
Let's do it. Let's start it. Uh, Nas, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? I'm good. How old are you? All right. You sound a little muffled, and we'll try our best. All right, man. No good reason to be Muslim. No good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my contention is more so, I guess, second prompt, but if I can prove to you that there is a good reason to be an atheist, it therefore follows that there's no good reason to be a Muslim either. So, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if you recall, as you probably do have a lot of people that you've talked to, but we had a discussion about free will, and at least to my recollection, you told me you were a compatibilist, and
Yep.
that you would be, if anything, you would fall back to being, or you thought that I was a Calvinist.
No, I didn't think you're Calvinist. I'm just saying, even if free will is not true, you can hold to some sort of distorted version of Calvinism, and God could still exist.
Okay. To try to, I guess, kind of get caught to speed so we're not like running through the same argumentation that we were before. I was the guy that gave you three hypotheticals. Do you remember those vaguely at all?
Nope.
No? Okay. I guess I'll try the first one and then you might remember. It was, would you still be you if you were born to different parents at a different time in a different place?
Well, that depends on how you're classifying the law of identity, right?
Yes,
That's
it
that's the
went through
problem
the
with the law of
same.
identity is what makes you you. If we answer that question, we solve a full philosophical problem. We'll probably get a Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay, so if you're going to, I guess this does pertain to the hypothetical, but if you're going to go down the rabbit hole of into like law of non-identity and stuff like that, we can do that as well. But if you can't even answer what makes you you, how are you going to say that you have free will?
How does that even remotely correlate?
Because
I
what
can
I'm saying
do
to
I
you-
have a finger? Hold on, do I have a finger? Can
I'm
I
not
say I
watching the
have a
video,
finger?
so- Can you say that? If you have
Yes.
a finger, yes.
Yeah, I could say I have a finger. Do I need to know what the totality of my identity is to know I have a finger?
Do you have to know the totality of what you make to have a finger?
Of my identity, yes. Do I need to know the totality of what is the identical to John to know I have a finger?
I would say that you don't, because I wouldn't necessarily equate you to being your body. So no,
Right.
you don't need
So
to.
so I don't need to
you have
know
a
the
finger.
totality of what makes me identical to know I have free will, right?
No. We're not talking about the physical traits that you have, such as your body. We're talking about
We're talking about a property. Is having a finger a property?
yes, but the
Is having a
properties are
free will a
different. So
property?
is having free will a property?
Yes.
It's probably a product of your.
What the hell are you talking about?
Of
Does a
your
rock have
mind.
free? Does the rock have a property of free will?
No.
Obviously not, right? So yeah, free will would be a property, something that I possess.
No.
So if I have a property of
No,
having a
free
finger, I
will-
can also have the property of having free will.
No. Free will is a product of your mind, which would be a property.
Doesn't
of you,
freaking matter
or
if it's
you.
a product of my mind. It's still a property I possess.
Yes, but now you said it. You said it was a product. Is it
I didn't say it was a
property or is
product. I said it was a property.
Sorry, I said it was a product, but free will in and of itself is not a property of you.
Why not?
I don't understand the question.
Obviously.
Well, yes, but that just means that you haven't explained it well. And if you actually wanted to engage,
So you're making a claim.
question.
You're making a claim. Hold on. You're saying free will is not a property of me, and I ask why not, and you say you don't understand the question. Do you see the problem with that kind of logic there? Because you brought up the ontological aspects of free will, and I ask you how you know, and you say you don't understand the question.
I could say that I may have indirectly brought up the ontological argument of self, and you, like I said, hey, if we want to go down this road, we can. But when I ask you, hey, isn't just free will the product of your mind? You say, no, it's a property. And then I'm like, well, how? I don't understand that.
Because free will would be before, not after. It'd be a priori, not priori.
Free will is a priori to you.
Right. My mind, if my mind is to act within freedom, it needs to have free will. It cannot produce free will. If it's producing free will, then it cannot act within free will.
So how is free will a priori to your mind?
I just
if
explained
in
it.
No. I'm trying to finish the question. Sorry. If I can remember correctly, your point of view was, yes, there's all these deterministic precursors to me being where I am, cause and effect, but I'm able to have agency and deliberate and reason my way through and make choices.
What
But
does it have to do with anything I
you're-
literally just said?
Because
What
you're saying that free will is a priori to your mind. But then you also say before, like in our last conversation, like I said, you might not remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said, yes, I'm still able to have free will, even in a deterministic framework.
I have no idea what you're even saying, man.
Okay. Sorry. Last time we talked, I asked you what you like, how you can be a compatibilist, and you're like, well, I can grant that it's deterministic things, but I'm still able to make my free choices.
What does it have to do with whether or not we have the property? Whether it is a property? You're just kind of just skipping that and going to something completely different.
When you said a priori, you mean it's before you, outside
Yep.
of your mind. So I'm saying.
I didn't say it was
you
outside of
also
your
said-
mind. I said it's not a product of your
Okay.
mind.
Okay, so if it's not a product of my mind, then it is a part of my mind.
I don't know the ontological aspects of where it exists. It just seems that it's that our mind operates freely, and that's what we define as free will.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it's not a thing. It's not a thing that takes up space, right? It's a mechanism.
So you're correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying that there is no like physical part of the brain, although there might be like certain like neurological like firings and pathways or patterns that might exhibit when we are.
I don't know
making
exactly
choices
what the
and stuff like
mechanism
that.
is. I'm saying you can't take free will and put it on the table. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's describing a mechanism on how something operates. Or sorry, it's the mechanism in which we operate.
Okay. It's a mechanism under which we operate. And you would say that if I was saying that, okay, this is a mechanism that I operate under, but I just call it deliberation or reasoning, and you call it free will, would we be arguing about just a label and not
Bro,
the
I don't even know
actual-
what we're arguing about, man.
Sorry, I came in more so thinking that you would remember, or I would spark you remembering or having a recollection of our conversation before. But my argument is that there is a good reason to be an atheist,
What is it?
that there's no free will. And then that's why like,
Why
I
can't
came
you
in
have
already
God?
assuming-
Why can't you have God and not have free will? Why are those incompatible?
Well, you could have God, but
Mhm.
when you like, what I'm saying is like, if you don't believe in free will the way I do, then the God in the way that most people conceive it would not exist.
Okay, so it's not atheist then. It's you don't believe in a specific type of God.
No. Well, like, I'm just saying, like, I don't know how
Okay,
the
so it's
universe came
agnostic.
about. No. What I'm like, what I'm saying is that you right now do not believe in any other God besides the Christian God, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I can prove that by not having free will, that the Christian God, which is the only God that you believe in, does not exist, you would be.
How would that
an
prove that our
atheist.
God doesn't exist?
Well, what I'm saying is that you believe that God necessarily gave man free will,
Yeah, I could be wrong about that.
right? Well, why would you be wrong that you're saying that the Bible isn't true?
So where does the Bible say that you have to have free will?
Well, then how else would sin be relevant to everybody needing to find Christ, and why would Christ have died if sin is like basically irrelevant?
It could simply be because God wanted to do some sort of performance or act or whatever it was. There could be a lot of what do you call them? I forget what the word is, but there's a specific word on why God does what he does. And there could be many reasons why he did it. I don't necessarily need to know it. It doesn't disprove his existence because I have a gap in my knowledge in a certain area.
Okay, well, there was a difference between having that gap in knowledge of like, oh, why God did something, and then you actually disproving something that is explicitly stated that God created for man.
Show me where it's
to have.
explicitly stated that you have to have free will. Go ahead.
Okay, well, define sin for me then. Sorry.
Sin is to act against God.
Yes.
It's to miss the mark.
Okay. And okay, so to act against God, like to try to distance yourself from God. And do you think that it is, I guess, like,
So again, you're kind of
compassionate or
you got everybody's got a really good talent of not actually arguing the topic. Christian God's not real. Why is atheism true?
Christian God is not real? Then why is it? Okay, what I'm trying to say is, like, yes, my position is that I don't.
Sorry,
I
just
don't
1 second.
necessarily know.
Hey brother, I hope you are well. I agree, there is no good reason to be a Muslim, but atheists, it's not so black and white, unless you are a Christian. However, the values of Christianity are definitely worth following.
We'll have to have a conversation about that, Waachop. Thank you so much for a generous donation. All right, go ahead, bro.
Sorry, hey, I lost my train of thought. What was that? Did you cut out? Did
No,
you say
I
something?
got a super chat.
Oh,
You can't hear it from your area.
Okay. Yeah, I asked you the definition of sin, and you said that it's like missing the mark on, I guess, being.
Right. So I just conceded that
yeah.
the Christian God doesn't exist. Why is atheism true?
Okay, but what I'm saying is that from your perspective, you believe that the Christian God is the only other God.
So I just conceded that the Christian God doesn't exist. Why is atheism true?
What I'm saying is, like, if you only believe in the Christian God and then you concede that the Christian God isn't true, then what other God would you believe in?
There's a plethora of ideas of what God could be. I could just be a deist.
Yeah, but this is like a little bit weird, like a thought experiment. But I'm saying right now, you do not believe in any
just
other
1 sec there,
gods.
boss.
Payday, y'all know the drill.
Okay.
Super chat John enough to let me out his basement.
Thank you so much, Brady. Appreciate that. That was funny. All right, go ahead, bro.
Okay, what I'm saying is that you only believe that there is one God. Correct?
I don't get it when I literally you're arguing a point and I'm giving you the point. I'm saying you win. There's no Christian God. Now why is atheism true?
Okay, what I'm trying to say is that if there like I'll skip out you because I'm not sure whether or not, like, having you in this hypothetical is like distracting. If there is a person that believes there is a plethora of gods to believe in, yet all they believe is the one God, and then they concede that the one God that they believe in out of the plethora doesn't exist either, they therefore don't believe in any gods.
Why? How does that logically follow? You don't believe in any other gods because you accept this one
Okay.
idea of God is false.
Okay, so I'll try again. Sorry. If there's 100 gods, and this person only believes in one God, and then it is shown that the one God that they believe in now actually is not true. Now they no longer just don't believe in 99 gods. Their one God is out. So now they don't believe in the 100 gods that they thought people believed in. So now there's no gods for them to believe in, which would make them
Again,
an
how does
atheist.
that logically follow?
How does it? What do you mean?
If you're wrong
100
about your
gods
idea
available-
of God, that does not mean that when you're disproven about your specific idea of God, that all other ideas of God are wrong. For example, Darwinian evolution was the standard, and then it was shown to have a lot of things wrong about it. Did they throw out evolution?
I don't believe that's the same thing.
Of course you don't, because it shows that you're making a ridiculous argument.
No.
Yes. Now give me an argument for atheism, would you?
What I'm telling you is that if you corner yourself in to not being open to any other gods, whether or not you believe you are justifiably like you're justified to believing it, which I'm assuming you are, since you believe that there's only a Christian God. Out of all the gods that you can believe in, you don't believe in them besides the Christian God. And then if I tell you, hey, by mere fact that free will doesn't exist, therefore the Christian God that you think that you know that you believe in is not true, then you must necessarily not believe in any of it unless you're saying to me, hey,
No,
I
I
believe.
don't have to do that. That's so stupid. Because if you believe in
Why?
Darwinian evolution, and then all of a sudden I show you that Darwinian, and you don't believe in any other forms of evolution, you believe in Darwinian evolution. I show you
Yeah.
Darwinian evolution is not the standard. It got some things wrong. Here's a better model that actually has a better explanation for evolution. Do you have to say, no, I have to reject that because I was only Darwinian?
No, but you just introduced something else. Okay, you offered me
Great.
a better
So now, if
position.
I'm wrong about the Christian God, then
Yeah,
obviously
what?
it's possible that there are better explanations for God. Yes?
There's possible, but if me
Okay, so
telling you,
then
hey,
why do I have to default to atheism?
you said there's no good reason to be an
Give me the
atheist,
good
correct?
reason.
The good reason is if I can prove to you, or I can give you a certain aspect that um, not proves that God doesn't exist, but the God that you think exists doesn't exist, and all you hold on to
Okay,
is
so
that
I'm
truth
going to
that
show
that
you
God
why this
exists.
I'm going to show you why this argument is stupid. All right? If you went up to a Muslim and you said to the Muslim, "I proved to John that the Christian God doesn't exist, so therefore you should be an atheist."
Well, doesn't like Islam like stand on like Christianity and Judaism? So wouldn't that kind of necessarily be true?
No, they have a completely different model. They use the same stories, but their model of God is completely different. They don't have free will. So, so again, they don't have a model of free will, at least not to the way that we understand it. And that's not even an aspect of like why you get judged in Islam. So, why is this a
Okay,
good
so
argument for atheism?
you're saying that if I prove to you or I can demonstrate that believing in free will negates the idea of what you have for God, you would go and find another God to believe in, or you would come up with another idea
That's
as to
not even
why
what
you
I'm
should believe
just
in one God.
saying. How does this prove atheism? That's all I'm saying. Because you're just saying if I can disprove your very specific idea, then my idea is true. How did that doesn't it's
No, no,
not
no.
how it works. If
I'm
hold on,
not
hold on,
okay.
hold
My
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me show you how this doesn't work. Let's say you
okay.
believe 2 plus 2 equals 10. I believe 2 plus 2 equals 11. You show me that it's wrong to believe 2 plus 2 equals 11. Why should I then therefore believe 2 plus 2 equals 10?
You wouldn't necessarily need to. I wouldn't like. You would first be like, okay, you believe that 2 plus 2 is 10. And then I say, or sorry, you believe 2 plus 2 is 11. And then I say, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, look at this proof that I have that it doesn't equal 11.
Mm-hmm.
I would also need to show you that 2 plus 2 does not equal 10 because it only equals 4. Like, why would I show you that it equals 10?
Right. So if you believe 2 plus 2 equals 10 and you don't have a good argument for it equaling 10, then obviously I shouldn't just default to 10, right?
I see what you're doing there. There's something wrong with that analogy.
Of course there is.
Give me
That's all you say when I give you an analogy that shows you how your argument doesn't work. You just say
no, no, no,
I
no,
don't like the analogy.
no, no, no. I'm saying there's something wrong with it. Like there's something wrong with it. I can't articulate it at this second. So if you would allow me a moment to think about it,
Sure.
thanks.
How is winning an argument appropriate for spiritual conquest? I don't know. Ask Paul. It's literally what Paul's job was.
Okay. What's throwing me off is that uh, like I actually know that 2 plus 2 does not equal 10. So it seems weird for me to try to persuade you over to 2 plus 2 equals 10. Why wouldn't like why not in your example would it be that I know that 2 plus 2 equals 4?
Because I'm saying that you have the wrong answer. But for some reason
Okay,
you
so
want to say that because my answer is wrong, your answer that's also wrong must be the default answer. That's the analogy.
okay, okay, so why couldn't I just be like, hey, I don't necessarily have a replacement for you believing that 2 plus 2 is 11, I can just tell you that it's not 11.
That's fine, but that doesn't mean my default goes to 10. Right? So you're
Yes,
saying the default
but
is atheism. Why is that the
no, no,
case?
no, no, no. I'm not saying default.
Live is
atheism.
restricted. Your live is not
I-
eligible for recommendation, restricted in search results because it primarily directs people off this platform. This is a line for your feed. TikTok is literally the worst. I'm going to reset TikTok, everybody. I'll be right back. You keep
I'm
going.
on YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that 2 plus 2 does not equal 11, and I can show you that, right? And since you don't believe that any other God exists besides your 11 God, you must be an atheist then.
No, that's so stupid. Because if
Otherwise-
I thought 2 plus 2 equals
No.
11, I don't think it's 10, right?
Okay, what I'm saying is like you.
No,
are
answer the
excluding
question. If
all
I
other
don't think 2, if I think 2 plus 2 equals 11, then I don't think it equals 10, right?
Correct.
Then I don't think it equals 14 or any of the other numbers, correct?
Yeah, any other numbers? Yes, because you have
Right.
excluded.
So
all
then when
other
you
numbers
when you
besides 11.
disprove that it equals 11, why do I default to 10?
You don't default to 10.
That's literally what you're telling me to do. You're saying
No,
your world.
okay.
You're saying I've disproved your worldview, so now you have to default to mine. Why is atheism the default?
I'm not saying that atheism is default. I'm
You
saying
literally
that
are.
I'm saying that since you have already excluded all other numbers, you are forced to default to atheism. That's what I'm saying.
Atheism is a number in this analogy.
Yes.
Why is atheism the default?
But I'm saying you have already eliminated all other possibilities of there
Including
being other.
atheism. Right? When I become a Christian, I exclude the possibility of atheism as well. So why is
Yes,
it when
yes,
you disprove
fine.
Christianity,
You
do I
can-
default to atheism?
I have no problem with you grouping in that.
Then
But
why do I
you have to
default to atheism?
Again, there's an issue with your analogy of using numbers.
All right, I'm going to move on because you're not
You could-
answering the question, but I
No,
appreciate
no,
your
no.
time, bro.
Okay, no. You
Yes.
Again-
Goodbye. All right, guys, if you want to join the conversation, no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when to taco, tinyurl.com/BJS guest. And TikTok, you're a little biznatch because you get all sensitive about things all the time. Oh my God, you want to direct people off our platform. Eat my toes. All right, let's bring in a guest. Marcus, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man, let me bring you in. All right, no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when to taco. Go ahead.
Sure. I guess to start off, I have no idea who you are. Just scrolling on YouTube Shorts, fixing my computer, you know.
Okay.
I guess the initial thing that caught my attention was no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist.
Yep.
That's it?
Correct.
No
There's
other,
no good reason to be either one of those
religions
things.
included in that? What about Hinduism?
So you want me to have a broad understanding of every single topic completely? These are two topics I understand, so these are two topics at hand to debate. Generally, when people have debates, you pick a topic and you debate that specific topic.
Yeah, and I'm just pointing out that it's a little...
Maybe I'll do Hinduism on Monday. All right. So, anyways, can you argue this? No good reason for Muslim or atheism?
Yes, this is part of it. I'm trying to explain it. I don't think you have a good understanding of what a positive claim is.
Yes, I do. I bet you I understand it better than you do.
That's a weird thing to say when you don't know who I am. It's not a good start.
That's called a bet. That's why it's a wager. If I knew who you hold on. If I knew who you were, would it be a wager, or would I just know?
Do you want to have the conversation on this topic?
Answer the question. If I knew who you were, would it be a wager, or would I just know?
So, as you were previously saying,
are you going to answer the question?
Atheism is absolutely the default.
Are you going to answer the question? If I knew
who
you are,
lay out my initial
if I
argument
knew who you are, would it be a wager?
It.
If I knew who you are, would it be a wager?
Do you want to have this debate or not?
Do you? You're the
Yeah,
one who
I'm
said
trying
it's
to
a
lay
weird
out-
thing for me
I'm
to
trying to
say.
lay-
You're the one who said it's a weird thing for me to say when I don't know you. So let's see if you're consistent, right? If I knew who you are, would it be a wager?
Sure. It
How would it
doesn't
be a wager
matter.
if I
That's
knew?
not what we're talking about.
It's what I'm talking about. How would it be a wager if I knew?
I thought you wanted to talk about this like Muslim
We
atheism
will
thing.
get there. We would have already been there if you would have
All
just
right,
answered
let's-
the question.
I did.
So it's a wager when you know things?
Would you like to discuss this or not?
We are, as soon as you answer this question. It's a wager when
I
you know
did.
things?
I did. Did you hear it or not? Or were you too busy?
So
trying
are
to
you
get your
doubling
own?
down? Are you doubling down with the fact that it's a wager when you know the outcome of things?
No.
Okay, so if I knew you, would it be a wager?
I don't care. I would like to discuss the thing that is.
Are you
actually being
that hung
debated.
up on conceding on one little point that you refuse to just say, "Hey, that was silly," and then we could have moved on to the next point?
Yep.
Okay. God bless. Have a great day.
Bye, dumbass.
Yeah, I'm the dumbass when you said something really stupid, and then you just wouldn't say, "Oh yeah, that was silly," and then we could have just moved on. Olivia, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Okay, let me bring you in. All right, Olivia, there's no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when a taco. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, the good reason to be an atheist is that if you don't have faith in one or more gods, that's what you are. You're a theist.
You're somebody using a
meaning-
voice changer, right? No grifting, no trolling allowed. I believed it for a second. Let's try again. I was like, oh, this is a nice 50-year-old lady. This will be a good conversation. I'll be able to like talk about her sweet candies. That is obviously somebody with a voice changer. Mop, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Mop. Moparino. Mop, my dude. All right, God bless. Aaron, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, let me bring you in, man. All right, no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when a taco. Go ahead.
Yeah, I heard I get a taco, so I mean that's a pretty good reason.
I'm waiting for the argument.
I'm sorry.
He just left. Mm-hmm. How are you not sipping out of a mason jar? That's the real question. Ramia. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? I can hear you. How old are you? All right, let me bring you in. All right, no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when a taco. Go ahead.
So first of all, I want to ask, why do you say there is no good reason to be Muslim?
Because there is no good reason to be a Muslim. Do you have one? I lost her. She left. Easiest W ever. Mm-hmm. Jay, you do not have your mic connected, so I'll have to let you go. I believe didn't I already talk to you? Hakshin, did we talk earlier? Oh, okay. All right, man. Let me bring you back in. I don't remember what we were talking about, but go ahead.
So I think we're at a point where we were kind of going through, and I was saying that there's no good reason. You're like, yes, there is. Then you brought up, you ran the aliens argument.
Oh yeah, you're the
and
guy who
then-
says that things don't exist until they do exist.
Well, no, that's not what see. I think I might have misspoken earlier.
Okay.
If you honestly think that, by your smile, I don't think you honestly think that.
I honestly think that's what you were saying. Genuinely.
Damn, I fucked up then, dog. Let me try and say it again. So where I was going with like the Vikings thing is like the Vikings are like, oh, it's Thor who's causing the lightning. And if I were a person at that time, the reasonable take I would think would be, I don't think it's Thor. And even though it is like electromagnetism and static electricity that causes lightning, I wouldn't have good reason to think that, and it would still exist independent of what my thoughts on it were. But I wouldn't have good reason to think it would. It's not that it's not that static electricity comes into existence. It's that I don't know that it's there, but I don't think it does because
Great agnosticism then.
I mean, is that what you define as agnosticism?
That is the definition of agnosticism. Agnosticism, by definition, is you do not know or cannot know.
I thought it was the take that you cannot know.
It could be both, right? So that there's two sides to that coin. It's you do not know, so you're agnostic to a certain position, or it cannot be known.
Can I ask you a question to suss out what your take on those things are?
Yeah.
Like like if there was just something called Vermergelberg, and I was like, do you believe in Vermergelberg? Would you say no, or would you say I don't know?
Well, you're gonna have to give me some properties about what Vermergelberg is. What is the properties of Vermergelberg?
Sure,
right. So if you can
right
give me some.
Yeah, it's right behind you, and it's about to grab you.
Well, I have reasons to believe that's not true because I can see behind me right now.
Yeah, it's invisible though.
Okay, so I can move throughout the room and not feel it. So I have reasons to believe it's not there.
Yeah, it can pass through you though too.
Okay, then I'd have to say I don't know.
Hold on. Instead of that, I would do something cooler. It can actually dodge you like it's in the Matrix.
Then I'd have to say I don't know.
You wouldn't just say that you don't think it's there, like because if anyone
I could say I don't think it's there, but if you're going to ask me to make a claim, like an assertive claim of a positive or a negative, I can't make an assertive claim of a negative. I can't say for absolutely certain that there aren't certain type of beings that operate in our universe that we can't connect with. For example, this is logically possible within the fifth dimension. If there are fifth dimension beings, we wouldn't be able to perceive them from our dimension. Right?
I like. I'm not sure that's true about the fifth dimension. I couldn't make a call on that.
Can beings that exist in the second dimension see things in the third dimension?
I don't know that there are beings in the second dimension, but
it's a logical concept. If you exist in two dimensions, you cannot see things in three dimensions. If you exist in three dimensions, you will not be able to see or conceive of things in fourth and fifth dimensions. Mathematically, mathematics shows that there are fourth dimensions, that they can be written on mathematics, but it cannot be conceived in the human mind.
That's not true. There's length, width, depth.
Okay, well let me just switch it up again instead of arguing that stupid point. If you're born blind, does the color red exist?
If you're born blind, are you talking about the qualia that you experience within your mind, or are you talking about?
If you're born blind, does the color red exist?
Sure. So I'm asking you what you mean by the color red, because people can equivocate on this philosophical discussion.
I'm going to kick you if you don't answer this question, because if you're literally going to say, what do you mean by the color red? That's sophistry.
I'm sorry to get all Jordan Peterson on you.
That's sophistry, bro.
Yes, the color red exists.
Okay. How would we know if we were all blind?
So you could take what's it called? It's not a mass spectrometer. It's an electrospectrogram. Whatever the fuck the thing is that you take wavelengths.
We're not talking about wavelengths. We're talking about the conception, the redness aspect.
Oh, sorry. I was talking about wavelengths of light when you're talking about red.
I'm talking about the aspect of redness. Would redness exist if none of us could see it?
Oh, so you're talking about the qualia. The qualitative experience of red would not exist. No, of course not. That'd be absurd.
Why would that be absurd? Would there not be animals who see the color red?
Oh, okay. If we're taking animals into account, yeah, I believe some animals can see the color red. Yes.
Okay, so would red exist?
Um, qualitatively in their minds, yeah.
How would we know?
Well, we wouldn't exist, so of course we wouldn't know, John.
What do you mean we exist?
No, you said in this hypothetical we wouldn't exist, right?
No, I'm talking about we can't see. If I said we didn't exist, I don't know. Maybe it slipped out of my mouth that way.
That's that's my bad. I totally imagine you saying that. If we couldn't see, then it would only exist in the animals' minds that the animals can see.
So would the color red exist?
Yes, in the minds of the animals that are.
How would we know it exists?
We wouldn't know that it exists.
Right. So things that exist in dimensions that I'm not able to comprehend or understand, I can't say they do or do not exist. I have to say I don't know. Just like maybe I don't have an organ that can see wavelengths that are out there.
Yeah, and like I would act like it doesn't exist. So like
Yeah, you can act like it doesn't exist, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about making a knowledge claim.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, it's if something's unfalsifiable, then yeah, you can't know that it doesn't exist.
You can definitely falsify the idea of God.
Well, it depends which God you're talking about. Like the Christian one, sure, yeah.
All you'd have
like
to do is
Muslim
make
one,
it so that naturalism has the best explanatory power.
Well,
If
that wouldn't
naturalism
necessarily
has the most
falsify it.
explanatory power, then there is no God.
That wouldn't falsify it. That would just mean it has the best explanatory power. Things that don't have the
That's
best
how we
explanatory-
operate in everything, right? Right? We can't falsify that it's not magic pixies pushing planets together, but the most
Keyword.
explanatory power is that mass moves time space.
And I agree with you. Key word there is that's how we operate. That's how I operate too.
Holy
And that's what I was
fucking
talking about
shit, you
earlier.
cannot be this semantic, bro. Like, obviously, every decision that we make is based off what is more probable and what's more likely. So, what is the probability and more likeliness for atheism? Go ahead.
Would you really clear? I want to clarify this. Would you like to talk about probability or explanatory power? Because those are
Waachop, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Oh, how you doing, brother? Yeah, I mean, I'm good. I've seen there's a lot of shit going down in your life. Yeah, thoughts are with you, man. But yeah, this debate was quite an interesting one. First part of it, there's no good reason to be a Muslim. Yeah, you're never going to hear an argument from me against that. No good reason to be an atheist. I mean, it's a tough one because I feel like in today's society, in reality, not in a fictional world where everybody follows the Christian values to the letter, there are misguided Christians, just like there are misguided atheists. There are Christians that, they're extremists in all religions. There are fanatics in all religions. And I think there are less fanatics when it comes to atheism. And a good atheist is able to look at religion and take the good qualities from it. You've only got to look at countries like America. So, is it secular or sectarianism? Which one is the one that allows you
secularism? But my question for me is, like, you're talking about extremists. What about like Maoist China?
Maoist China? Oh, well, they had no religion in China, did they?
Yeah, so this would be like an anti-religious kind of movement, more like atheistic. Then you also had Soviet Russia.
Again, they weren't Christian, no.
They were against religion.
Oh, okay. My history's pretty shit, I'll be honest. But yeah, okay. Yeah, those are examples. Like I say, it does swing both ways. You know, I'm not going to stand here and say that atheism is perfect. There is no perfect theology or like belief system or lack of belief system. But I do think
and then
it gives,
and then
gives
just
you more options.
real quick, and also the reason you're not going to see as many as extremists in atheism is because atheism isn't as large as theism, right? So you have less numbers.
Yeah, that's a really valid point. That is a really valid point. Yeah, you've got a smaller sample size. The thing I've tried to touch on a couple of times in previous debates, but it wasn't really relevant, but it is totally relevant this time. The Christian countries in Africa that still participate in slavery and slave trade, and they're really high numbers. We're not talking, a few dozen people here and there each year, because like countries in Europe still have like straight up chattel slavery, but it's like literally dozens. It's barely on the register, but we're talking, thousands of people are being traded as chattel slaves, and the Christian Bible has nothing to say against it. These people are the countries I'm talking about are like 92% Christian as well. They are the outliers. There's like 6 of them that are particularly bad. You've got like Uganda, you've got the Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I didn't know these are 2 separate countries until I started doing this research, but apparently they are. There's like a collection of them that are really bad perpetrators of this, and it's not just them. Half of the countries in the world still participate in chattel slavery trade. I didn't know this again until I started looking into it. It's not been criminalized in half of the countries in the world, even
including
though
the United States.
Well, the UN have said it's illegal in all countries. Yeah, I know you're going to say about the prison system. I think that's slightly different to
Why?
buying and selling people, because it's a punishment for a crime. You can argue about how valid the crimes are that people end up in prison for, but
are they still not slaves?
They were never bought, so they were never property. I feel like slavery.
Prison systems move prisoners around all the time.
Yeah, but no owner has ever said, right, this person is my property. They're still citizens and still civilians, and still have human rights where, a slave doesn't.
What human rights do they have that's same to us?
Food, water, shelter. In fact, they got more human rights than homeless people. Let's put it that way. So I don't feel like the prisoner argument is a fair reflection against.
They get food. They get like a bun that's given to them. They get the bare minimum, right? They get shelter. Yeah, they get locked in a cell with another guy where they don't get to move around. They get water, sure, but there's. I love prison TikTok. That's one of my favorite things to watch. Their water is literally brown a lot of the time. So yeah,
I'm not
sure, they get those things. So again, how are they not a slave?
Well, nobody bought them. That initial trade, the transaction.
Okay. So if I steal somebody, if I go into the street and I just pick them up, throw them over my shoulder, and I bring them into my house and I make them be my slave, are they not a slave because I didn't buy them?
They'd still be a slave, yeah.
Okay, so how are they not slaves in prison?
That's not how the prison system works, though, is it? People are convicted of a crime, and then they go to trial,
right.
And then they go through the judicial system, and then a sentence is handed to them, and then they serve their time. And whether they make it out the same person as they were before they went in.
Yeah, that's fine. You're just talking about the method in which they become slaves. How are they not slaves?
I strongly disagree that they are slaves.
Okay, well then you need to tell me the difference between a prisoner and just somebody who's a slave. What is the difference? Is it simply just how they became a slave?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think it can't be anything else, because an innocent person can be enslaved, whereas a criminal can be put to work in a prison, carrying out labor without wage, but ultimately that is a punishment for a crime. That's not an innocent civilian who's had their rights and privileges taken away from them and then made to work for free. Like, you must see the distinction there, surely.
Well, I see a distinction, but I don't see it as not being slavery. It just seems like a justification for slavery.
Well, we're not going to agree on that point.
So,
And
so
it
for
is,
example,
it is,
for
that
example,
is beside the
so
point.
hold
though.
hold
That
on.
is-
If we made it illegal to sneeze, and then all of a sudden we started arresting and putting people in jail for sneezing, would they be slaves or not?
yeah, because that crime isn't a real crime. As I said,
Well, no,
you
no,
can
it
argue
would be.
about the.
It would be.
Yeah, that's come on, man.
No, it would be. It'd be a real crime. We made it illegal to sneeze.
So, I don't know where this is going, but that feels like a silly argument to me.
But just saying it's a silly argument doesn't address the argument, right? We make it illegal to sneeze. We arrest people for sneezing. We put them in jail. Are they slaves?
Well, they haven't committed a crime. You can
Yes,
say
they
you've
have.
made it illegal. You can say you've made it illegal, but
Yes, they have. They have committed a crime. We made it illegal, so therefore it's a crime.
Can we stick to real crimes? Rather
If
than
we if
fictitious
we all
ones?
collectively got together and voted for that sneezing is illegal, it would be a real crime, would it not?
Okay, yeah. If it was a unanimous vote, like 100% of the world's population said,
That's not
yeah,
how
it's
voting.
illegal
That's not how voting works. It doesn't go by unanimous decision, right?
I-
If the
well,
if the
it-
legal
yeah,
system
it-
that's initially put in was implementing the way that it always does for all laws that sneezing was illegal, would it not then be a crime?
I won't answer until you tell me how this is going to come about. How would it become a crime? Because it's not a fair argument to say.
So for
if
example,
everyone-
the way it would work in the Canadian legislation is somebody who's a member of parliament would write up a bill. They would implement that bill into the voting system. They would all vote for
No,
it. Then it would go to
the-
the Senate, and then the Senate would look at it and either decide whether they have to push it or pass it. And if they decided to pass it, then it would become a legal bill in Canada, and then therefore
Okay.
it'd be illegal for people to sneeze
So under what circumstance would sneezing become a crime?
by that
Like,
method.
Yeah, but like I'm just saying, like who's going to sign off on that? That's why I'm not happy to argue that sneezing becoming a crime.
You're doing
invalidate-
armchair psychology. People pass
No,
crimes.
no.
For example,
You're- I'm sorry,
hold on.
John,
Let me land the plane. For example, it's illegal in some places to walk across the street on your hands.
How old is that law?
Doesn't matter how old it is. It shows that people can make
does.
ridiculous laws, right?
It does, because there are laws in the UK where it's like it's illegal to feed your cow after a certain time of the day. 'cause
Yeah.
it's
So
come
that
from medieval
shows
times, and it's like
that people can make
the
ridiculous
legal
laws, right?
the legal system isn't perfect.
Is it
What I'm
possible for
saying
people
is-
to make ridiculous laws?
Absolutely, yeah.
So then it is possible that people make it illegal for people to sneeze.
Not in modern day society. I don't think
It's
a new
not
law
possible.
is-
What makes it
I don't
impossible
think-
for it to happen?
I understand that old laws seem ridiculous because they were, and the only reason they still exist in the UK.
In
for
what
example,
time?
is 'cause
What
we-
time period would it be ridiculous, or would it be sufficient to say it's illegal to walk across the street in your hand?
Mate, I don't know that law. I don't know where it's from, and I can't give you a solid answer. And I
Okay.
very much doubt it's enforced. I very much doubt it's enforced.
Doesn't matter if it's enforced, it's still a law. So if it's logically possible that people can make ridiculous laws, why can't they make it illegal for people to sneeze?
Fine, we'll go with your argument. Yeah, it's illegal for people to sneeze. Put them in prison. I still don't think it's slavery. They committed a crime. Okay, so
Okay,
if you've got
so you're-
innocent free civilians that are captured and then enslaved, that's a slave. If you've got criminals that
Okay.
are forced to work, that's a punishment.
Okay, so all we have to do to have as many slaves as we want is just implement laws. We can make it illegal to be black, and therefore we can make them slaves again.
I mean, where is this argument going? Like, you've really
I'm showing you how you have an arbitrary and ad hoc standard of how you classify slavery.
No,
Because as long as I can implement a law, and listen, there used to be laws.
So you don't understand.
It used to be. Hold on. It used to be illegal for black people to not be slaves.
Yeah, I know. Well,
So by definition, they weren't slaves. According to your definition.
How so?
Because it would have been illegal for them not to be a slave.
Yeah, but they were still slaves. They were bought, traded, forced to
But it's
work,
all within the realms of the law.
Are we really going to split hairs about?
Yes,
the
because you have an
definition of
arbitrary and
slavery?
ad hoc definition of how you're classifying slavery. Because your definition of slavery is if they've committed a crime, therefore they are slaves. So if we make it illegal for people to be black,
no. If
they've
they
committed a
haven't-
crime and then therefore they're a slave.
No, I disagree with criminals.
Or they're not a
as
slave.
slaves.
Sorry, they're not a slave.
Yeah,
I got that
yeah.
bad. If they committed a crime, they're not a slave. So if we make it illegal for people to be black, right, then we could take all black people and make them not slaves.
By putting them in prisons and work camps.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's unlikely. I mean,
I don't care how likely it is. I'm saying it's logically possible.
My definition of slavery is non-criminals that are being forced to work.
Right. So if we make it illegal for people to be black, therefore black people will be criminals, and then we can make them all non-slaves again.
This is such a wow, John, man. This I'm really sorry. It really feels like a bad faith argument. This.
It's not a bad faith argument. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but you're deflecting from the fact that there are Christian countries that are participating in actual slave trade of innocent people, and that's why, as an atheist, I'm saying there are misguided Christians out there. If these countries were,
what does that have to do with anything?
Because every country in the world that has said slavery is illegal has made an actual law about it. They are all the ones that are.
They haven't, though. That's what I'm trying to say. Those are hypocritical countries. They've just changed the definition of slavery. They still have slaves.
You today cannot go and buy a slave in America.
I can't do it, but the government can.
The government aren't buying anyone. There's no.
They are literally trading people between these private prison systems.
Okay. That's fine. That's movement of prisoners because, cell space.
You don't think a private prison system doesn't have some sort of transaction when they send a prisoner to one prison or another?
I don't know enough about the private prison system to actually answer that one.
Do you think they pay them like 19 cents an hour, right, to make freaking license plates? They don't get to decide when they wake up.
Oh, they're not a slave. They're not a slave then. They're getting paid, man. Whether it's a penny an hour, they're getting paid. Yeah, I'm sorry. That totally invalidates your argument. They'll be getting taxed.
Okay, cool.
On that
all right, so here's what I'm going to do then. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go grab somebody off the street. And because I didn't buy them, they're not a slave. I'm going to bring them in my house and I'm going to pay them. Hold on. Let me finish. I'm going to pay them 1 penny an hour to operate in my house and clean it. And they're not a slave according to your definition.
Man, I really feel this is a bad faith argument.
That's because I've got you, and you don't know how to answer the question.
It's not a got you at all.
Yes, it is. Literally, if the only Waachop, if your only response to me in this argument is that I feel like it's bad faith, and you don't have a response to it, then I got you. So I answer the question: are they a slave?
Yeah, fine. They're a slave.
What makes them a slave? Because you said as long as I pay them,
I'll
it's not
just
slavery.
agree with everything you said because it just feels like we're not going to get to the meat and bones of and it's not even important. Fine, there are slaves in American prisons, whatever. There are literal slave markets in Africa in 92% Christian countries. What I'm saying is countries that have, whether they're upholding that law or not, they have criminalized slavery. It's a crime.
It's
okay?
not,
Whether they uphold it or
it's
not.
not criminalized.
I'm just saying whether they.
It's literally not. It's literally not because I could hold on. It's literally not because I can show you in the amendments in the United States Constitution where it says that you can have a slave if they've committed a crime. It says you cannot have a slave except if they've committed a crime. It literally has that you can have a slave in the Constitution.
Can you bring it up? Because I don't believe that. I don't know your Constitution as well as
I'm not American.
Oh, you're Canadian, of course. It's like telling a Scottishman he's English. It's like, no, I'm Scottish. Yeah, sorry for getting heated, man. It's just, it feels like I'm being railed off of the actual argument I was trying to make, over a semantic.
Yeah, you're trying to say that their slavery is worse than these other people's slaveries.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah, but it's
That's
still
exactly
slavery,
what I'm saying.
right? It's the pot calling the kettle black.
I think that, a criminal that commits a crime in the US and then gets put in prison and forced to make number plates for vehicles.
So the 13th Amendment, United States, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime, whereof the party shall be duly convicted, shall exist in the United States or any place subject to the jurisdiction.
So it's punishment for a crime. They have
but
to be.
Hold on. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except.
Yeah.
So if it's the exception,
I'll concede. I'll concede. Yeah.
then they're
Okay.
slaves, right?
I'll concede. Yeah.
Okay.
And that slavery is punishment for a crime, which ironically is the justification for it in the Bible. One of the justifications for it, which I actually don't disagree with. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not being a dick. I'm just trying to say there are misguided Christians in the world, millions of them, doing terrible
everybody
things.
in the world.
And like in the Deep South, when slavery was rife, do you not think there were some Bible thumpers that were like, yeah, man, it's justified? Like, so
But it was Bible thumpers that said that they should be set free and started the Underground Railroad.
I know. I was literally coming to that. I was literally coming to it. I'm not gonna like give you a straw man. I understand that Christianity. It was the Christians in the UK that started the freedom of slaves across the British Empire and stuff. So, like, I fully understand that Christianity is a force for good, but it can be misconstrued and abused, just like any doctrine. Like any doctrine. And I don't know. I'm just saying that to say there's no good reason to be an atheist.
What is it?
Is a bit of a blanket statement.
Is the good reason to be an atheist because some Christians are jackasses? So can I say it's a good reason to be a Christian because some atheists are jackasses?
I think it's a good reason to be an atheist. There's a good reason to be an atheist because, first of all, belief. Like, I don't think it would be disingenuous of me to say, yeah, I'm a Christian, because I don't believe in some of the miracles.
I don't think you're an atheist. I think you're an agnostic.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah.
I don't have an issue with agnosticism.
Oh, you got an issue with the people that are like, no, there's definitely nothing.
Yeah.
The guy, like the Richard Hawkins. Is it Richard Hawkins?
Basically, the guys who walk around and make atheism their entire identity and wear fedoras.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah.
I actually think agnosticism is super based.
Yeah, because who really knows? Even Christians don't know.
Why not?
For sure. They don't know for sure. They believe.
Sure. No, I know for sure.
Okay. Well, that was kind of the whole argument, was that, in every religion, there is extremists, there are fanatics, there are misguided people, there are people that interpret the text wrongly. Because I don't think this was it, I should have steelmanned the argument first. Like, I fully understand why the rules for slavery are in the Old Testament, because at the time, if someone robbed your market stall, there wasn't a prison. The only people that were going into a cell were like political prisoners and generals of armies, people that were too dangerous to have out on the streets.
There were no cells at this time. There were no really great temples or castles. This was well before then.
Yeah, even more so reason to have a slave as punishment. Like, it's pretty much akin to the amendment that you pulled up on the US Constitution there. So I don't actually, my personal feelings on the text in the Bible about slavery is I understand why it's there, but there's obviously people in Africa that don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, millions of them that don't understand it. And it's because they're following a religion that condones it in the text. If you take it in the most literal sense, it condones it. Where, okay, in the UK, we don't have that. We don't have that thing where it says you can have a slave if they've done a punishment.
Which Christian-run country is using Christianity to make slaves?
Just check out the Democratic Republic of the Congo. That's the biggest offender.
Yeah, but how do you know they're using Christianity to do so?
Well, the fact that 92% of them are Christians and slavery's going on, it's condoned.
But what does it mean when they say 92% are Christian? Like, what do you mean when you say that? Because the word Christian gets thrown around very loosely in the West, so I don't know how they do it there.
I'm not going to say they're more Christian or less Christian. They've identified themselves as Christians. So They're reading from the Bible. They're saying, this is my faith. And it's accepted as part of everyday society.
Well, but
Do you know
your
what I
your
mean?
argument is they're using Christianity to do so.
Not necessarily using it, but it's not as if Christianity said don't take slaves. Do you know what I mean? And because they are obviously, it is a misguided interpretation of the Bible. It's permissible in society. I'm not necessarily saying it's because of the Bible that they're doing it, but it's permissible in the Bible, so it's not being stopped.
Why is this a reason to be an atheist then?
Because in every country where secularism has been sort of the mainstream for the government, they have brought in laws to say you can't buy and sell people. Like slavery's been abolished in all secular countries. It's only countries that aren't secular.
What about North Korea?
I don't know if they have slave markets in North Korea. I don't think anyone knows.
Everybody is a slave in North Korea.
Yeah, that's a dictatorship. That's different. I mean,
right, but I'm saying is
if he was a benevolent dictator, we wouldn't be saying that.
But what I'm saying is that their country specifically rejects like you are not allowed to be a Christian in that country. It will put you in an internment camp if you do so.
Oh, they're not allowed to have any religious beliefs in North
No,
Korea.
they are allowed to have one religious belief, that Kim Jong-un is God. That's the belief that they have.
Hey man,
to hold.
he might be. He might be. How do we know? As an agnostic. But no, okay. That was my whole argument, John. To be honest, is that I think it's a bit of a broad statement to say there's no good reason to be an atheist, because there are plenty of good reasons not to be other religions in the right context. You know, if somebody is not of their right mind.
But if your argument is that there's secular countries now that treat people great. Hold on just a sec.
Good to have you back. Best wishes for you and Abby.
Thank you very much, Charles.
What did you say, man? I didn't hear it. Read it out.
Just say good to have us back. Best wishes for us.
Okay.
So yeah, you have again Soviet Russia,
right?
Which was very atheistic. It was a criminalized to be any sort of religion, and that led to horrible outcomes. Now it wasn't necessarily slavery, and then you also have Maoist China, which was again right now it's illegal to be Christian.
Okay. Wow, it's illegal to be Christian in China.
Well, I don't know what to be, but to practice it, it's illegal.
Wow. I know they had a lot of issues with the, what are they called? The Muslim sect over there. They were putting them in cages and stuff.
Yeah, they were putting them in internment camps.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, if your argument is that
atheism doesn't get it right all the time, obviously.
Yeah, well then, I'm just saying, if based off your logic, I can look at that and say, well, that's why I'm going to be a Christian.
So, this is an important question. Do you believe that the government of Canada, the country you live in, should not be secular? It should be sectarian. Do you think it should be a Christian government?
I believe that we should have theocracies.
You think we should have theocracies? Okay, see, that's the problem, man.
Why?
Every country that is a theocracy is a hellhole. You name one good one. Well, there'll be one outlier, but you know, like the vast majority.
I'm trying to remember what it is, but there is. If somebody in the chat will tell me or remind me, but there is a country out there that is primarily Christian run, and it shows that it's got the lowest depression rates, suicide rates, and problems. If somebody can remind me in the chat, it was one of the Scandinavian countries.
And I can name 6 ones where people are, you know, buying and selling each other. So I don't think this is the argument from atheism. At the very least, a government should not be
Sweden, Poland. I think people are saying Poland, El Salvador, very Christ-like crime. So yeah, I would like to see a theocracy, but I would not like to see there's a big difference. I don't want a forced theocracy. I want a decided theocracy. I want a country that is a theocracy because most people are Christian.
So under a theocracy, what would the legal system look like?
It look like a legal system that we have now, right? The people who are in that society vote based off their current beliefs, and that society ends up living based off the current beliefs. So we live in secular societies mostly because most people are secular, and that's the way the voting system goes. Now, if we lived in a society where most people were Christian and held Christian viewpoints, the voting system would start going that way. So, for example, abortion would become illegal.
Okay. Yeah, and if somebody did decide to hop the border, go to America, capture a few people, and bring them back to Canada under the Christian theocracy, they've done nothing wrong.
No.
No, they haven't. You go and look in the book, man. Like they haven't done anything wrong. You may take your people
Yeah, it
from
literally
the
says
neighboring countries.
in the Bible that you cannot kidnap people, right? When you take them from the neighboring countries, it was them being sold into your country, which those countries also said that you cannot kidnap people. It was punishable by death. So again, you're talking about the prison system, and we have a better system set up now than we did then, and so that would be the system that we'd most likely go to. And again, this is not what Christians hold to, right? That you're talking about a law that was given to the Israelites. It wasn't given to the Christians.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I concede on that point. It was the Israelites. They weren't allowed to treat each other poorly, even if they enslaved each other. Okay. Well, I've made my case. I think it's clear. I think government should be like atheist run, but let anyone practice their faith, and if it happens, and dude, this is coming from a place where I wished I lived in a Christian country, like, and it's only the sort of the bigger picture that makes me say no, government shouldn't get involved in religion, because in every country, well, every country I've seen,
Except the atheist religion.
Atheism isn't a religion. Come
Absolutely,
on.
it is.
Okay, what's the deity of atheism?
Spaghetti god.
Spaghetti god. Okay. Well, if nothing else,
Pastafarian.
Oh my goodness.
No, atheism. Yeah. Atheism is the god of self.
Yeah. Okay. That's a better one than the spaghetti monster. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I just feel that every country where the government isn't involved in the religious beliefs of its people, apart from China, apparently, I didn't know this. Like, I'm sorry, I'm learning through. Like, I don't know everything. It's just my own experience and what I've seen, and the echo chamber I live in. It seems like countries that live under a theocracy aren't doing so good, and the countries that don't are the ones that everybody is immigrating to.
So
Everybody's going there.
Most of the ideas of like the theocracy, and again, you can't say that because like a lot of the world's culture that grew and moved forward were under theocracies. Like, we're gonna go back to like Europe in its prime. That was a theocracy.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was the place to be and do things. Now, were they perfect? Absolutely not. But nobody was perfect back then. But they were definitely better than the other people. So you can't say that like it's just worse. Now, if we take the culture that we live in now and we implement theocracy or theocratic values where most people are religious and therefore based off the religious values, I don't see how that would end up being worse. The problem is if you have a dictatorship which forces the theocracy, because then you have conflict.
Okay.
Just like if you had a secular leader trying to force secularism onto Christians, you would have a conflict.
Or outlaw them from practicing their faith, sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, people are going to practice their faith whether you tell them to or not. Yeah, they'll die for it. It's not faith otherwise. So, really interesting chat, dude. Really enjoyed this one, but I don't know if I've got anything more to add to the conversation other than, like I said, I wouldn't mind living in a Christian country, but the problem is I'm not a Christian, am I? So I wouldn't be welcome, man. That's the real kicker.
That's where we're different, is because you not being a Christian is the most welcome.
Oh, that's really kind of you to say, man. Cool.
Well, that's the gospel.
That's the gospel. Yeah, I'm still chipping away at it, dude. I'm sorry, I've fallen behind on my Bible studies. But have you started doing it in the Discord now? I saw something pop up in the Discord the other day. I've just been so loaded with work. I will join the Discord and join.
I haven't posted the Bible study this week, obviously because of the loss that we went through. But I'll be back to it next week. Yeah.
Well, I won't say a prayer for you. I'll just wish you really well, brother, because you're a good egg, and we need more people like you, mate.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. God bless Waachop. Good luck on your journey.
Thank you, mate. Speak to you later. Bye.
Peace. So you can get spicy with each other and still like each other. Not everything's so personal these days, ladies and gents. All right, guys. No good reason to be Muslim. No good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when to taco. Join at tinyurl.com/BJS guest. Yes, I put that in. Password 12345. All right, let's go. Let's see if we get a good reason for atheism today. Mop. Hello, how are you? And that was crazy loud noise. I'm so glad I muted that for you guys. Waachop is goated, bro. He's my favorite guest. Waka Flocka. Jay, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Hi, how old are you? When were you born? Okay.
But I thought you should.
All right, man.
Am I doing right now?
No good reason to be Muslim.
Right.
No good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when to taco. Go ahead.
Okay, so you were just having a really nice conversation about secularism and atheism as opposed to government, correct? As is, listen.
That's what I was talking
I would like
about.
to start off just by saying, by definition, an atheist government such as North Korea, Soviet Union, and Mao's China are not secular. Those are not secular governments. Secular means separation between church and state. A government that prohibits you from worshiping religion is not secular by definition. It is the government, the state itself, interfering with your religion. That's not secularism.
Cool story, bro. So what's your argument for atheism or Muslim?
So again, you said no good reason to be an atheist or a Muslim. I would like to know, what do you mean by good reason? Are we talking about rational?
Something that is logically sound.
Okay, so let's start off with atheism. There's tons of people that don't have a, let's say, less than hard grip on their faith. And so let's say somebody that has a very horrible life, right? A horrible life, and they have nothing good that happens to them. There's tons of people that live and die in wretched conditions in this world. I believe it is a rational thing for them to conclude that there is no ultimate good, all loving, all good, and all powerful God. That'd be a rational conclusion for that person to make. Is that not rational? How would you feel about that?
Yeah, so it's not rational, because if you're going to say they're not all loving, then you have an objective standard of what loving is to measure it against.
Okay, so we have objectivity of what loving means. All right. So then it'd be rational for them to say be a theist, or yeah. So it'd be rational for them to be a theist is the question then. Like what? Because you say everybody should be a Christian. That's the title of your thing, of your stream as well. That's your saying. Everybody.
That's my
should be a
generic
Christian.
title that I put on almost every live.
Oh,
the
I'm
topic
sorry.
today
This
is
my
this.
first.
Yeah.
Okay, my apologies. This is my first time interacting with you.
You're good.
I wasn't aware. All right. So let's take the Muslim thing then instead. So people that grow up in Muslim societies, it is a rational thing because of the culture they are in to be a Muslim. That's a fair thing to say.
That's by definition not a rational thing. It's the ad populum fallacy.
Well,
it's fallacious by nature.
No. It's given information. People can only make rational decisions with as much information as they have available to them. That's how it works. You can't make. That's why nobody can be perfectly rational, as they have nobody has all the facts at play. That's why people make decisions that they believe are rational that are wrong. So I still think it is, again, you can make the rational decision to be a Muslim, and you would say that's an irrational decision because you have information or you have experiences with the Christian faith or God that you would say that's not a rational thing to do. Here's the why you should be a Christian. Christianity is a better faith.
What? Slow down. I understood you for a while, and then you just kind of lost you.
Sorry,
Repeat what you're saying.
This is a common problem. I speak quite fast.
It's not that you're speaking fast. It's not coherent.
Sorry. All right. So you have experiences in your life that have led you to become a Christian, right? You have experiences. You have information. That is a rational decision for you. All right. I believe that's a rational thing to come to, right? So let's say, would it not be rational for a person that grew up in, let's say, Iran to be a Muslim? Is that not a rational thing for them to do? In their perspective.
If the only reason they're doing it is because the other people around them are also Muslim, that by definition that's irrational. That's fallacious by nature.
No, not because the other people around them are Muslim, but because the things they've learned are conducive to the Muslim faith. Let's say again, they've learned all the history that pertains to Muslim faith. They
Uh-huh.
study it. There's scholars in these
Okay,
countries that
so they
study this
study all
thing.
this information. What does that information say that makes it rational to be a Muslim?
They study that Muhammad was the prophet that got the word of God. They
And how
study
would they
that
know that Muhammad's the prophet of God?
they look at different texts and they look at what's the name, the hadiths, and they look at all these
So
historical
that you're
figures
making vague
reporting.
references to text. Can you give me a specific example?
I cannot give you a specific example of a hadith as I'm not a Muslim. I'm an agnostic, soft
Okay, so then why
atheist.
is this a logical reason to be a Muslim?
I'm saying from perspective because rationalism again is a very perspective thing. We can I think rationalism is the highest thing, the highest truth order, right? That's the most important thing in the world. But I understand that people aren't rational just because of the information they have available to them. So when I say at least to me, good is always a relative thing. Like there's no objective like this is a good thing. So when somebody's a Muslim, I would say that's not I'm not a Muslim. I don't believe
Okay,
in
is
Islam.
there any rational reason to be a Muslim?
I don't think so. I think there's rational reasons to be an atheist.
Okay, I'd say what's the rational reason to be an atheist then?
I don't think there's any objective proof for God. Uh Again, this is
Okay, so why
you
is
I
atheism the
would
default? Why not agnosticism?
um so I was going to clarify. Are we talking about atheism as being a lack of belief in God or a
There is no
complete
such thing as a
rejection of
lack of
God?
belief in something. That's a false claim that atheists have pulled out their butts so they don't actually have to stand on the ground and make a positive claim. There are three possibilities when answering a question: yes, no, or maybe. Which one is it?
What do you mean there's no possibility of lack of belief?
Name one other
I would say that's
situation where you'd say I lack a belief in something outside of God.
you wearing shoes right now. I don't know if you're wearing shoes right now. I don't believe
Right,
you're
so you
wearing
said
shoes.
I
But
don't
also,
know.
I don't believe, but I don't have a belief in you wearing shoes right now. Yeah,
So
I
that's
don't
I
know.
don't know.
So that's a lack of belief in something, is that not?
No, that's I
If
don't
I
know.
don't, what is a lack of belief then?
So
Like
let
I
me
don't
just ask you a
understand.
question. Am I wearing shoes?
I don't know. I don't believe you're wearing
Right, so
shoes.
you're
Again, I don't.
agnostic.
But I don't. Yeah, I don't have a belief in you wearing shoes. It's like saying I
So
don't
you're
believe in it.
agnostic. You do not know.
Yeah, I'm agnostic on that claim. I am
Okay.
ignorant.
So it does God exist?
Uh, I act as if God does not exist, but I do not know.
So
That's
you don't
soft
know. So you're
atheism.
agnostic.
That's soft atheism. I live an atheistic life.
I don't care how
I
you
live as if
live. I don't give a rat's ass how you
that's
live. I'm talking about a knowledge claim. Does God exist? Yes, no, or maybe?
no.
No, God does
I
not
can
exist. Okay, so now you've made a
let's say no.
positive claim. Now you have to
Yeah.
actually give an argument for that positive claim.
I'm rejecting the claim that God does exist. So I would say, from the empirical evidence, I don't see any, at least a Christian God. I'm not going to say I
Okay, do
reject the
aliens
Christian God.
exist?
I don't know.
Okay, if it's if it's I don't know for aliens but no with God, what is the separation between the two? Because I'm going to say you haven't seen any evidence for aliens.
People make claims about. I just say I don't think aliens have come to Earth. I will say that I don't
That's not
believe
the
in
question
aliens
I
ever
asked
coming to
you.
Earth.
The question I asked
No,
you is, do
but there's a
aliens exist?
difference.
You said I don't know.
Yeah, there's a difference though. God has done things and miracles on this earth, right? People that and affected people. Aliens, I can say aliens exist or they might exist, but they've never come to Earth. That's my let's say
I'm
that.
not making a
I
claim
don't
that
think
God has done things on this earth. I'm just talking about
you're
God's
Christian. Yes,
existence.
you are making that
I'm not
claim.
arguing for the Christian God.
You're saying God in general. Well, then let's
I'm
define
talking
God.
about there's no good reason to be atheist.
Well, again, what God are we rejecting here? Because again, there's like I don't want to get Petersonian because Peterson again, it's a famous thing. Like I don't want to. We need to define God then. When I'm rejecting, I want to define what I'm rejecting here. Is
The
God's
idea of
all
a max making property being.
a max making property being? So, let's say truth. If somebody were to say truth is a max making property being, does it have a
I'm just
will?
talking about a
Right?
being that has the max properties, right? The maximally good being, and we're going to say yes, it has a will.
Okay. So it's a maximally powerful, maximally knowing. Correct? I just want to say that those three down. Yes.
I'm waiting for an argument, man.
Okay. So it's maximally. All right, let's look at if it's maximally good. Let's handle the first one. Maximally good, correct? I want to again. All right. The problem of death and suffering in this world. Or,
Right. So
pain
so
and
to
suffering,
say that it's maximally good, right? And then to say that I have a standard of maximally good that contradicts that standard of it being maximally good, disproves it, creates a problem because then your standard of being maximally good isn't objective, is it?
Well, I'm not having a standard. I'm the problem of pain and suffering. It's a problem. There's pain. There's a lot of pain and suffering in this world. Is that like if we're not going to have any measurement of good, then how can something be maximally good? You're saying I'm objectifying goodness, but if something's maximally good,
because your argument creates a contradiction because you're saying there's this maximally good being, but you're saying I don't see enough goodness to see this maximally good being existing. So therefore, that goodness that you're using to measure against this maximally good being ceases to have an objective standard and becomes an subjective standard. So it becomes a self-refuting argument.
Not even it could be an amazing. I'm not even making that's not enough good. This is a beautiful world, right? But there's the problem of evils. Let's say evils, suffering, the presence of suffering. That is a problem for a maximally powerful.
Why?
Because if something is maximally good, then it would want no evil.
Right, so you're saying I have this standard of good. The highest standard of good would want no evil. So therefore, if there is evil, then there is not this highest standard of good. So therefore, there isn't this objective standard of good for me to actually use to measure against this being. So therefore, this thing that I'm using to prove it is ad hoc, or disprove it is ad hoc and arbitrary. Do you understand the problem?
I'm not following now. I don't want to pretend that I am following.
Okay, you're saying that there's this objective standard of good that we're going to use to measure against this God. I don't see this God reaching this objective standard of good, so therefore this God doesn't exist. But if this God doesn't exist, then there is no objective standard of good for you to use to measure against it.
So you're saying because I'm saying that there's this level of good that doesn't exist in the world, and I'm comparing this level of good that doesn't exist to the current level of goodness in the world, and I'm saying, hey, it's not reaching that I'm creating a almost self-defeating statement.
It's a self-defeating argument, yes.
But if something is, the problem with maximally is that it is the biggest, like it's the most good. If I can imagine more good, then it's not maximal.
If you can imagine more good, it's not maximal?
Yes, because
I'm not talking a maximal good existence. I'm talking about a maximally good being.
With a maximally powerful being.
Maximal.
Yes, maximal. A maximally powerful being as well.
Max.
Yes, the most.
Yes, so it very well could be possible that this being does not have the power to remove evil.
But we started off with the three. That's why I wanted
Max,
to ask at the
not all. Max.
Max. So then there's things that this God can't do.
I'm not saying it does or doesn't. I'm just saying that it's logically possible that this God could exist without having the power to remove all evil. This would be called open theism.
The problem, not a problem. So it's a God that this is a very powerful being, a very powerful and a very good being, the most powerful and most good being there is. But it is not all. It's not omnipotent. It's not omniscient.
It would be the omnis, but it depends on how you're defining the omnis. So, for example, this God could be all-knowing, but only knows all truth claims. Now, if tomorrow doesn't actually exist, then tomorrow he wouldn't know because it's not a truth claim. He can only know what is actually true. That is what's logically possible. Now, I am not an open theist. I'm a classical theist. I'm just using this argument to show you that there's no good argument for atheism.
Let's focus on a classical theism then. Well, let's do it in regards to...
So there's no good argument for atheism.
Well, what do you mean? You're arguing on was a theoretical God that you yourself say that isn't even a reasonable expectation for a God. You just
What?
like you said you don't believe in this open theism.
No, I don't hold to
So
open
obviously,
theism because of divine revelation, because I am a Christian and the way that God has been presented to himself throughout scripture and church history. But I'm just talking about the logical possibilities of what could be. It's logically possible that I could be wrong about Christianity and open theism could be the standard.
and is it not logically possible for there to not be a God?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's a necessary being.
So it's almost like the cause. It's arguing from the necessary being argument. Then, so there has to be a cause. Is this a causal relationship? Like this being causes the world?
That's part of the evidence that we would get back to a necessary being. I'm not saying there has to be a cause, because if there has to be a cause, then this being would have to be caused. This being is a necessary being. So again, what is the argument for atheism?
Why is this being necessary? That's really what I want to get to, because I don't believe there's a necessary being. I don't think
Because
there
of the
has to be a
principle of
necessary being.
sufficient reason, all contingent things must have an explanation. If the totality of contingent things requires an explanation, it cannot be another contingent thing, because the totality includes all contingent things. So therefore, it has to be a necessary thing.
I'm more than willing to say that we just don't know a naturalist cause.
I agree
for the
with you,
world.
Jim Bob. I'm doing it for the sake of argument.
Is that not a reasonable thing to say too? We just don't know a naturalist cause for, let's say, the Big Bang. There could be a naturalist explanation for it.
So your argument is it could be a naturalistic explanation?
Yes, because and as you said, there.
So that's
God
a
could be
good reason to be an atheist? Is because it could be?
Yeah, and there could be a Christian God that through his not through, but
So our
places
whole
stars
reasons to believe things is that it could be. So it could be the
to
fact
my.
that fairies push the moon around the earth. So it's a good reason for me to believe that fairies push
Actually,
the moon around the
no.
earth.
Well, no, because you can't prove anything with that information. That doesn't like so. If we can measure it, we can't measure God. That's a complete. This is the supernatural.
You
You're
can't
trying
measure
to apply.
consciousness.
Yeah, I'm not a naturalist. I'm saying it could be a naturalist explanation, but again, you're applying supernatural like
I don't believe in
ideas.
supernatural things. Give me a supernatural versus natural distinction.
God is supernatural.
That's an
In
example, not the distinction or definition.
a definition, supernatural mean pertaining to the natural world. Like I can measure it, I can see it. There's things that it's a natural
So
phenomenon
things
that's
that you can
observable
see
and
and measure.
measurable.
Can you see and measure
Observable
consciousness?
measure. No.
Okay,
Consciousness
so
is
is
a.
consciousness
That's why.
supernatural?
That's why I'm not a naturalist. I do believe there's some.
But
I'm
is
agnostic
consciousness
about consciousness. I
supernatural?
don't know. I don't know.
So it's either natural or supernatural. You're going to say consciousness
And
is
I
supernatural?
and I can say I don't know. I
So
don't know.
you're going
I
to say
use
I don't know to consciousness being supernatural, but you wouldn't say I don't know to God?
I do say I don't. I said I'm an agnostic atheist. I live my life as
You
if there's no
can't be an
God, but I'm not.
agnostic atheist. That's that's
Yes,
a contradiction. You cannot say something is maybe true and not true at the same time.
there's two. All right, there's two types of atheism.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is. There's
No, there
strong A
isn't.
and small atheism. What are we
No,
talking
there
about here?
isn't. There isn't a strong A or small. This is something that atheists have pulled out their ass so they don't have to give an explanation for things. In philosophy, it's argued that atheism must make the claim that there is no God because it must be a negative towards the positive. The positive is theism, the claim that there is a God. The negative toward that is atheism. So if you ask, is atheism true? If you're simply going to say, well, it's a lack of belief, how do you answer the question if atheism is true? He left. Okay, let's move on. All right, guys, no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when to taco. Join at tinyurl.com/BJS guest, password 12345. Atheism is just a psychological state, John. Braden, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Yeah, you sound great. Let me bring you in, man. All right, there's no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when to taco. Go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to talk about. Can you first just define for me what atheism is?
Atheism is the claim that there is no God.
Okay, I don't think that extremely large majority of atheists would even adhere to that.
I don't give a rat's ass what the majority adhere to. That's an ad populum fallacy.
Well, the people define the word, and they're saying that if someone who identifies as an atheist says that they also don't believe, like you're defining that atheism is the claim that there is no God, right?
Okay,
Like,
what are you
that's
saying it is?
I'm saying that I don't know. And it
That's
might not be
agnosticism.
Yeah, Gnostic is a claim about it. Gnostic or agnostic is a knowledge claim. It doesn't have anything to do with a higher power. Like you can be
What?
an agnostic atheist. Hello?
What does that even mean?
What? What part?
Everything that you just said. Agnosticism is the claim I don't know. Atheism is a claim that you do know, and it's no.
No, agnosticism is about belief itself.
So is atheism and theism. He left. Why'd you leave? All right, let's bring in a guest. Logan Agnostic. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, bro, let me bring in. All right, there's no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong, win a taco. Go ahead.
All right, well, I'm an agnostic.
Based.
And what that guy was saying before, I agree with what that guy was saying just before, where like agnostic means no knowledge. Gnostic means
agnostic
knowledge.
agnostic means that you do not know or it cannot be known.
Yeah, well, that works perfectly fine. But you could be an agnostic Christian.
No, you can't.
You could live your life by the book and believe, but also say, I'm not too sure.
No, you
I
can't.
could be wrong.
You can't be an agnostic Christian. It's a contradiction. You cannot both say that I do not know God exists and I do know God exists.
Well, then there's a certain demographic of person that is just incapable of coming to God. And so God's just not all loving.
What?
Because, like, I know
that is
down,
the biggest red herring shift I've ever seen in my life.
Hold on, I know deep down there is nothing that could happen in my life that would be able to change my mind. So
okay, sounds like a you problem.
There is a lot of people I know that are exactly the same. And if there is an all-loving God that wants a personal connection with everyone, but there is also a large demographic of people that cannot come to God, then he's not all-loving.
What makes it logically impossible for you to come to him?
I like to watch all the videos on YouTube of debates and stuff like that, and I just cannot find anything that proves that God exists.
Right, so that's just saying you have yet to be convinced. So you're trying to tell me, you said it's impossible for you to believe. What makes it impossible?
Well, there's just no possible. I just could not think of anything that could change my mind. Like I'm 50-50 on there being sort of creator, some type of creator, but
you just said it's impossible for you to believe in God. Why are you saying now it's 50-50?
It is impossible for me to believe like 100% in something. I'm forever stuck on a fence. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I am never going to move from this fence.
You're 100%.
There is no God.
You said hold on. You said it's impossible for you to believe in something 100%.
Yeah.
Do you know you exist?
Oh, that's yeah. In the moment.
Okay, so you know you exist.
Therefore I am. I think therefore I am is about the only thing you could prove.
Oh, no. Hold on. I'm going to show you how you know more. Okay, so you know that you exist, and there's one thing that you know for certain, right? Okay, then do you know knowledge claims?
They aren't things.
You know knowledge claims exist.
But they're not things.
I'm not talking about things. I'm talking about metaphysically. Knowledge claims exist.
Knowledge claims. That's like saying, do you believe in, like,
Is I think, therefore I am a knowledge claim?
no, it's not a knowledge claim.
Then what the hell is it? Just one sec.
Oh, yeah.
Also, peace and prayers to you and your family. Folded hands emoji.
Thank you so much, Jason. Very generous of you. Okay, so if it's not a knowledge claim, what is it?
You're right. That probably is. That probably would be a knowledge claim. Actually, yeah.
Okay,
I sort of.
so then you're aware of knowledge claims. Is it true that you know you exist?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're aware of truth claims.
But I still don't think they count as things.
They exist.
Like, if you were to say God can do everything, but God can't lift a rock heavier than if God can't create a rock.
What does that have to do with anything I'm just saying? You're saying you said I
It's a
can't know
logical
anything.
fallacy.
You're saying you said I
that's-
can't know anything for certainty.
Yeah.
Right. So you know you exist. That's a conceptual idea. You know there's knowledge claims because you need to have knowledge to know that. You know there's truth claims because you're claiming that as a positive, which then goes forward to say that you must know that there's some sort of rationality because you're rationalizing, which then must go to say that must be some sort of logic, right? So you have this chain that keeps going back because of the problem of the one and the many. You can't just claim one thing to be true because you need many things to explain that one thing.
Yeah, I suppose that could be right.
Right.
I feel like I've heard responses to that before because I've definitely heard that before, but I just can't think of the response.
Right. So you can know things for certain. So why is it logically impossible to say that you can know for certain that God exists?
Well, even if God were to appear and he were to pull me up into heaven, and then for the next perceivably billion years I would experience heaven, I would still not be able to know that I'm experiencing heaven. I could just be a dream. I could be,
sure.
But
you'd have high certainty. That's true. You wouldn't be atheist, would you?
I would have a high certainty. I would still be agnostic.
Are you agnostic towards your parents?
Yes.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
I just think this is
100%.
I just think this is an irrational way to live. I think probability is that your parents exist because you interact with them. You don't know anything.
Yes,
you don't know any. So
probability is nearly perfect. Is nearly 100%.
Right. So sure, there are
99.999.
There are a lot of things in life that you could say you're uncertain to be 100% sure of, but you work on probabilities, on the odds, on the chances of it, and you make truth claims based off that. But you don't walk around saying I don't know towards everything. That's an illogical way to operate. Like you're not going to operate your day-to-day basis doing that.
But then under no circumstance can I say that I believe in God under your definition, because I can't 100% wrap my mind around it.
Okay,
so if I can't believe in God, then
let's just test this. Do you believe your parents exist?
Like, in a way.
It's like, let's just stick to yes, no, or maybe. Do you believe your parents exist?
Maybe.
Do you believe you exist?
Yes.
Do you believe we're having a conversation?
Maybe.
Right. So do you now? If we just keep going through all these things, and you're just going to say maybe to everything, that becomes like an illogical way to operate life, especially for people who do like the scientific method, right? They're not just going to incorporate science and say maybe this is the answer to everything.
That's my point. There is a large population of people that are stuck in the same mindset that I'm in. They are stuck in the maybe. Everything is a maybe besides I exist. And I suppose you could bring in logic and truth claims, but then every truth claim is a maybe. So
no.
There are people.
No, it's
like
not. It's not a maybe because if it's true that you exist, that's not a maybe.
So there's one truth claim. There's one claim that I can say is definitely true, and everything else is a maybe.
Well, now, but you also know that truth claims are true. So those are two truth claims that you know are true.
Okay. And we could go with
Right?
logic.
Then you can also say logic is true.
In
So
our
those are
universe.
3 truth claims. Then you can also say rationality is true. Those are 4th truth claims.
But rationality and logic only sort of work in this world that I'm experiencing, which I don't know to be true.
No.
Well, there could be a universe outside of the one that we're in now where rationality and logic don't work. Why not?
How do you have a square, round, circle?
Those are things that are still in this realm. So those are things that are still in this world. What about stuff that is just outside of this world?
Okay, it's outside of this world. How do you have a square, round, circle?
But the square, round, circle are things inside this world. So you're just taking things in this world and putting them outside of this world. What about things from outside?
How do you have 2 contradictory things be true at the same time?
Well, that would rely on logic being true. And I'm saying, like, there is a possibility that outside of this realm, logic might not be true.
If you're saying it's possible, you're using logic to come to that conclusion. Right? Now give me the logical conclusion on how you come to that conclusion. Because you're just simply saying it could be isn't an argument.
No, it's not an argument, but it's also slightly off the point that I was trying to make. The point that I was trying to make was, like, there is a population of people that are stuck, unable to say yes, to, like, they're unable to believe in an all-loving God.
Yeah, I don't care.
They're just unable to.
That's irrelevant to me. There's a group of population that believes the Earth is round. I wouldn't say that they're rational or is flat. Sorry.
No, definitely not. But because of that is a decent enough reason to believe in atheism.
Okay, is because there's a group of people who believe the Earth is flat. Is that a decent enough reason to believe the Earth is flat?
No, but the Earth being flat isn't a claim that there is an all-loving God that wants a personal connection with everyone.
No, but it's claiming the Earth is flat.
Christianity, that's so.
I'm not even talking about Christianity. I'm just talking about there is no good argument for atheism.
Okay, well, one good argument for atheism would be there is, and I don't believe in atheism itself. Like I said, I'm agnostic, but there is hundreds, maybe thousands of claims to different deities with thousands, maybe millions of witnesses that have recorded information down on paper to say that they have witnessed these things, all different deities. None of them have any substantial proof. And atheism doesn't claim anything crazy. All it does
Yes,
is
it does.
seek out information.
It literally does claim things crazy. It claims that the world is naturalistic.
And how's that crazy?
It's assuming that it's got logical problems in itself. It doesn't explain contingent things. You'd have to deny the PSR because you need a necessary thing to explain those contingent things. It also has issues with having to.
A necessary thing.
Really? Okay. How does that work?
I think the universe is just infinitely contingent.
Okay, it's infinitely contingent. How do you explain the infinite contingency?
Well, how do you explain a necessary thing to cause the contingency?
Because
I just think
because the definition of necessary. Hold on. The definition of necessary means it doesn't require an explanation. The definition of contingency means that it needs an explanation. That's the PSR.
Yeah.
So how do you explain a triangle is a triangle? You don't, because a triangle by definition is just 3 points and 3 sides, but it needs an explanation on why it's blue. So if we can imagine the universe being different, therefore it's contingent, we need an explanation for that. So we need an explanation for the totality of contingent things. So therefore there must be a necessary thing.
It just keeps going back. All the way back.
Okay, it keeps going back. You still need an explanation for the totality. Do you know what the totality means?
Why do I need an explanation? It explains itself.
Because contingency, by definition, needs an explanation. So the totality of contingent things needs an explanation.
I don't think it does. I think
it does. If not, you're denying the scientific method. Are you denying the scientific method?
Physicists generally are in
Are you
consensus at the
denying the
moment
scientific
that
method?
the universe is infinite.
Are you denying the scientific method?
No.
Okay. So the scientific method incorporates the PSR, which is the principle of sufficient reason, of things that could be different need an explanation. The universe, in its totality, whether it's eternal or not, could be different, so therefore it needs an explanation.
But if it is infinite, then it probably
doesn't
will be
matter
different
if it's
in shape.
infinite, right? So if
No,
you're
it
in
will be
if you're in a
different, though.
forest, if you're standing in a forest and you run down the forest and it's infinite, the forest is infinitely big. It still doesn't explain why the forest is there.
There doesn't have to be a why. There just is. I mean, there could be nothing.
Then
Why
you're
is there
denying the
something at all? Why is there
PSR.
God?
Then you're denying the PSR, the principle of sufficient
Yeah,
reason.
but the principle of sufficient reason would just be to prove scientific things within the realm that we live in now. So
No, it's not.
if you wanted-
It's saying
if you
that
wanted
things
to
that
use
could
the
be different
PSR
need
to
an
ask-
explanation.
Yeah, and so you're just looking back through time. So like,
Okay,
why is
you
the
have it-
sun where the
oh
sun
my-
is? So we would use the principle of sufficient reason to.
You're in
figure
an
out why
eternal
the sun's where
forest.
it is.
You're in an eternal forest in all directions. Why is that forest there?
It just is.
Just is. Just arbitrarily
It just
is.
is.
Ad hoc and has no explanation.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want me to adopt the viewpoint that things just are and have no explanation and arbitrary. A
Why
tree
is
is
God?
exactly
How is
that
God?
height just because it's that height.
Yeah, the universe is the necessary thing. The universe is necessary. Why is God the necessary
You're not
thing?
answering the question about the tree. The tree is that height just because it is that height and requires no explanation for it to be that high.
Well, it grew from a seed. It grew to be that high.
It grew.
Yeah.
So there's an
That
explanation.
individual tree. For that individual tree, yeah.
Okay, so a forest filled with nothing but trees all require an explanation.
No, all the trees individually require an explanation. The forest.
Right, so the
is
totality
necessary.
of contingent things requires an explanation.
Well, what's the explanation for God?
God is the necessary thing.
The universe is the necessary thing.
Okay, could the universe be different?
Maybe. I don't
Is
know.
it logically
I don't think
possible
so.
that there could be one more extra planet in the universe?
I don't think so. Not like right now, currently where we are. I think
No,
the universe is
logically
deterministic.
possible. Logically
I think
possible.
the universe is deterministic. So I think that right now, like right. I mean, it could have been different if.
Okay, could have been different. There could have
The
been one more
universe-
extra planet, right?
I mean, in two different like yes and no at the same time. I think that the universe is deterministic.
I'm not
So it
talking
could not
metaphysically,
have
I'm
been different.
talking logically. Is it logically possible that you could have one extra planet?
Well, logically, in a deterministic universe, there would not be an extra planet.
Why?
But I'm saying I don't know the.
Do you
whys,
understand the
I don't know
difference
the
between
causes.
metaphysically possible and logically possible?
No, sorry.
So metaphysically possible is something that actually exists in the world. So it's not metaphysically possible that when I drop this, it's going to fly up into the air. It's logically possible, as in I can conceive of it flying up into the air when I let go of it. So
Well,
is
how
it
could you logically you couldn't logically conceive something that's not. Like,
Yes, I fucking can, you
literally
retard.
possible.
You're telling me I can't close my eyes and envision this flying up into the sky?
Yeah, you can, but it's not logic. It's not logical.
How's it not logical?
It's logical for you to close your eyes and drop a pin and imagine and logically believe or think that it's going to fly up into the sky.
No, not actually believe it's going to happen, but I can imagine it happening.
Yeah, you can imagine it, but
Okay, so I can imagine it going the other way. So when I see it drop, then there must be an explanation it's going this way, right?
I'm still confused as to what the difference between metaphysical and logical are here. Because,
Metaphysical
like, you can
is the way
logically
that
imagine
it operates in reality.
So
Not
the difference
metaphysically
here is-
possible because mass pulls on mass. It's
So logic
logically
is just
possible
imagine?
because I can conceive of it. Can you conceive of a triangle that's not 3 sides and 3 corners?
Isn't logic just like a...
Can you conceive of a triangle that's not... Okay, cool. So it's not logically possible to have a triangle that is not 3 sides and 3 corners, because that is
and
what a
it's not
triangle is.
metaphysically possible either.
Correct. It's also not metaphysically possible. But can a triangle be blue, purple, yellow?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I logically thinking of it being... Yes, a triangle. Now, if I paint that triangle red, it is now red, which means, is it yellow?
No.
No, but can I imagine it being yellow?
Yeah, you can imagine it being yellow.
So it's conceivably possible that we can make it yellow. So again, can we imagine the universe having one more extra planet in it?
Yes, I can imagine the universe having one more extra planet in it.
Okay, why doesn't it?
Because the way the universe was before makes the universe now not have that extra planet in it.
Great, so you're giving me an explanation. So therefore it's contingent and requires an explanation. So therefore you cannot just say it, it just is.
That is a planet within the universe.
The universe by definition is what is contained inside it, yes?
No, the universe is what contains everything.
So then when there's no planets and there's nothing inside the universe, what is it?
Well, it would still be the universe. If there was nothing inside
well, no,
the universe,
you're giving me a circular definition. You're saying the universe is the universe. What is it?
Everything that exists.
Okay, so everything that exists is what is the universe, right? Our conceivable universe. So if we have one extra planet, the universe then changes, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so then conceivably the universe could be different, so needs an explanation for the way it is.
Yeah, I can conceive of God being different. Why? So what's the explanation for God to be the reason he is now?
Have we even got to the point of God yet? I still thought we were on the universe aspect. This is just whataboutism. So the universe requires a necessary explanation, yes?
No, the universe is necessary.
He literally just admitted it and went right back. Oh my freaking God. That's atheism for you, ladies and gentlemen. You wanna guarantee the fact that you're gonna lose brain cells? Become an atheist. I'll be right back. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong, win a taco. Join at tinyurl.com/BJS guest. Let's go. Clark, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man. Let me bring you in. All right. No good reason to be Muslim. No good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong. When a taco. Go ahead.
Cool. So I'm now probably the fourth person who's going to address this, which is like the definition of atheism. I obviously want to talk about the question, but I think that we have a challenge with how you're defining that word. So do you agree with me that the definition of words can change over time and language evolves?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. We both agree. That's awesome. Do you acknowledge that the word atheism has had a variable meaning over time, and that today in contemporary discourse, atheism means the lack of belief in God, but not putting forth the positive claim that God doesn't exist?
Yeah, so the lack of belief in God is what I'm contesting. I'm saying it's a nonsensical claim. That definition doesn't mean anything.
Well,
so I could define glibblglorp as a bliblablopply, right? That doesn't mean it has actually any value or meaning. So when if I ask you right now, is atheism true? Can you make a truth claim if you simply say it's a lack of belief?
Well, this is the thing. We're talking about the definition of the word real quick. I'm happy to entertain the question that you're posing, but the challenge is I don't think you and I have an aligned definition.
Okay.
So I can't answer
I'm
your
saying
question.
your definition is incoherent. It doesn't make sense.
Hang on. My definition would be consistent with contemporary discourse. So like, are
no,
you familiar with...
it's not consistent, because if you go to Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, it says this is the primary viewpoint that people have, but it also gives a huge explanation on why that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
So
in philosophy, this idea is rejected.
Do you know what the definition of the word queer is in a contemporary sense?
No.
So that would be somebody who's probably on the LGBTQ spectrum, whatever, but that's not what the word used to mean. Queer would mean something that's strange or weird.
Yes, I get that. I get that definitions can change. What I'm saying is that this current definition of lack theism is incoherent.
So hang on. I'm the fourth person to be on the call that I've heard anyway. You probably had some before who've all come in and said, hey, that's not the definition of atheism. And what you're doing is you're using in your prompt a word that you're saying has a different meaning from the one that's commonly accepted.
Listen, you dumbass. What did I just say three times in a row?
Whoa, I was kind to you. I haven't name called you.
I don't give a rat's ass if you were kind, right? What did I just say three times in a row and you weren't listening?
Like, here's the thing. I'm happy.
Can you just steel man what I said? Just steel man what I said.
Well, go ahead and repeat it so I make sure I get it.
No, I'm not going to repeat it a fourth time. Steel man what I said.
Okay. Well, if we're going to play this game where I bring up
steel man what I said.
I'm not going to steel man it because you're not entertaining
the
question.
Appreciate your time. God bless.
Get fucked.
Okay, let's address it again. Christian. Every time I get like hostile towards somebody, not very Christian. Read the Bible. Read it. Right? I guarantee you, I'm a lot nicer than Jesus was. All right, let's bring in another guest. Anyways, I said like 4 or 5 times. I know that's your definition. I am arguing that definition is incoherent. And then what did he keep doing? He kept arguing that's not our definition. I know. I said 4 times that I'm saying that is your definition, but it's incoherent. He was not listening. So that's why I called him a dumbass. You're going to act like a dumbass. You're going to be treated like one. Mop, welcome back. Yes, much better now. All right, man, let me bring you in.
Okay, great. We have talked about...
I lost you. As soon as I brought you in. Nicer than Jesus is crazy. That is a pretty crazy thing to say, actually. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I'm not nicer than Jesus, but I think you understood my rhetorical goal when I said that. Okay. Nas, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? I don't even remember. What were we talking about?
Atheism the default. And I was trying to show you that I wasn't claiming that, and you were saying that, and then you said, okay, we're done here because you keep on repeating the same thing, and I said, no, that's not what I was saying.
Okay, so do you have an argument for why atheism is rational?
I don't think it's the default. What I was trying to say was that it is you who have already excluded all other possibilities of God besides the Christian God, which then, if you are proven, or if it's proved to you that.
He's just saying the same thing he said before. All right, I'm all out of guests. There's no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when to taco. Join at tinyurl.com/BJS guest. But yeah. What, who does that? The Hodge twins. Thank you. It's my jar. Piss off? You telling me to piss off? Are you a member to my channel and told me to piss off? That's weird. Are you talking to somebody else? Atheists have this internal critique about God that doesn't exist in their world. Weird. How are me and Abby doing, by the way? We're doing okay. You know, we're moving forward. We're moving forward. That's all you can do in these situations. All right, guys, smash the like button, share the live. If we don't get a guest soon, I'll call it a day. Or maybe we'll just go raid someone else's channel. Not too sure yet. How's Abby? She's doing as good as she can in this situation. She's grieving. She's grieving. What happened? Go watch our update video if you want to know what happened. I don't want to say it here because we got ops in this channel right now. If you want to join, you got to join on the tiny URL, my friend. I'm not going to bring you in on the TikTok. You ever talked to Christ before? I've never talked to them, no. Where's the update video? It's if you go to my channel, it'll be one of my latest lives. It just says update. No picture, no nothing. Proverbs 26:4 suggests you should not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him. Okay, I'm like him. Suggests you should answer him in that way, lest he appear wise in his own eye. Yep. Yeah, good proverb. I subscribe to your channel as it seems you're honestly engaging, but you straw man and hang up on people. Why don't you come up and explain to me what I straw manned? And I also don't hang up on people. Most of the people I had conversations, listen, I go back and look at it. Most of the time when I have conversations with people, I have it for like a half hour, including nonsensical conversations. This claim that I just hang up on people and kick them is nonsense. Because you can just go back and look at all my lives and see that I only talked to about 11 people in 4 hours. And you could just do the math that those are at least 10, 15 minute, 20 minutes, sometimes an hour long conversation. Getting people to request their URL is weird. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. Mop again. Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. I'm just having technical issues today. So what I was saying before is that one of your previous callers, you were talking to him about the definition of atheism, and you were saying that his definition, he was claiming, a lot of atheists have the same definition. You think it's incoherent. Can you explain a little bit more why you think it's incoherent?
Because you can't make it a truth claim. So if I ask you if atheism is true, if you say it's a lack of belief, it's not a truth claim, and it's the counterclaim to theism. Theism is a truth claim. It makes a positive assertion. Atheism says we don't make any positive or negative assertions, yet we already have a word for that. It's called agnosticism.
Okay, so if I were to say that, because I consider myself an agnostic atheist, and I know you don't think that really works, but I would say that agnosticism is saying that we don't know or can't know, which I think you'd agree with, correct? And then atheism is just my belief. Do you accept that?
All claims are based off beliefs.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But
even the agnostic claim is a belief.
I guess you could. I see how you could say that, but where you could say that, I believe that we can't know, but I would just. That's an interesting. I never thought about agnosticism being a belief as well, but I would just say that even though agnosticism is a belief that I would hold, atheism is just another belief that I hold. It's not me
Yeah, but they're
claiming.
contradictory beliefs. One says there is no God. One says I don't know if there is a God.
Well, no, so okay, I'm not. I think agnosticism is less. What's the word I'm looking for? Less specific than that, because you could be agnostic about anything, in my opinion. Agnosticism isn't just about the claim of God. I could be agnostic. Like one of your earlier callers also talked about, I can't remember the name he used for it, but I'm just going to call it glibglob, that creature behind you that was invisible that would pass right through you, right?
Yep.
I could be agnostic about that as well, but I
Sure.
would then say, if you were to ask me, okay, do you believe that glibglob exists? I would say no, and that would make me atheistic, for lack of a better term, about glibglob. But I would still say that I don't know for sure because I can't prove that glibglob exists or not. So I
then
am
you're just
agnostically.
agnostic.
But no, because I think that they're two different claims. Agnosticism, I would say, is still like knowledge, right? A claim of knowledge, and atheism is a belief, a claim about belief.
So there are only three probabilities when asking a question. It's either yes, no, or maybe.
Yes, but I think so. If someone were to ask you, do you believe in glibglob? You would they're not asking if glibglob exists.
Yeah, you're
They're
talking about based off your prior knowledge. What do you think is the probability of that thing existing? And you're going to say it's less likely. You're going to say it's most likely that it doesn't exist based off X, Y, and Z.
No,
that's a rational
reason
to believe it, right? So belief is just a trust. That's all belief is, right? I believe my car is going to start tomorrow. I can't say for absolute certainty that it will.
Yeah. So in that case, right, I would say it's not illogical to say that you're both agnostic about the fact that your car will start tomorrow, but believe that it will. Like that's exactly I don't think that's illogical. That's saying
No,
I don't know for a fact that my car will start tomorrow, but I believe that it will because every time I go out there in the past, it has.
Yeah, so I'd say the likelihood of it starting tomorrow is pretty high.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say I lack belief in something. Like, I would never say I lack the belief that my car is going to start. I'm going to say it's most likely not going to start, or it most likely is going to start. I'm going to work on probabilities, or I'm going to say I don't know, up the middle.
Well, no, I'm not just saying. I'm not just saying that atheism is a lack of belief.
Just give me any situation. Oh, you're not saying that. So what are you saying?
I'm saying that atheism is the belief that there is no God, but agnosticism is almost like a caveat on top of that, saying like I can't say for certain that there is no God, but if I were asked if there is one, I would say I don't believe there is. I'm not saying there isn't one. I'm saying that that's just a claim of belief.
Okay, so then you have to make a positive assertion on why you don't believe there is. Just like a Christian has to make an assertion on why they believe there is.
Yeah, and that's fair. And the reason I would say that I don't believe that there is because I personally haven't had any convincing evidence or arguments brought to me that convinced me to make me believe. Because I don't think that we choose our beliefs. I think that we come into our beliefs. Like our beliefs are almost exposed to us. I don't think that we choose beliefs. So from my personal experience, nothing in my life has made me believe that there is a God. So that's why I would call myself an atheist, because I don't believe there's a God. But I do still admit that I don't know there isn't. So I call myself an agnostic atheist.
Okay, but then you're being contradictory again. So either is it I don't know or no? Which one?
No, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude. I do not think that is illogical, because again, the same thing with the car, right? It's not illogical to say that I don't know for a fact my car will start.
You don't talk like that. You don't do that. You don't do that in your day-to-day life, in your operations, right? When you go to start your car tomorrow, you have a strong confidence it's going to start.
Yeah, but if someone were to say say in the night before I was going to go start my car, if somebody came and threatened my life and said, "Tell me yes or no, your car will start," or you can say that you don't know for a fact. I'm going to say I don't know for a fact. Exactly.
So then you're going to take an agnostic viewpoint.
Yes, but the thing is, right? Again, it's whether or not you believe. That has nothing to do with my belief. That has everything to do with my knowledge. That's agnosticism is just saying that we do not have perfect knowledge. Belief is separate from that.
Okay, so again, a belief is just a trust.
Sure.
Okay, so when you're saying you're an atheist, you're saying, I don't think God exists. Why?
It's saying I don't believe God exists. Yeah, so essentially the same thing. And again, I would say that, I mean, I think we're kind of running in circles a little bit here, but I would just say that there's nothing that has convinced me.
Okay, so then you're just assuming it's the default.
I would say naturally it is.
Okay, now you need to assert that, prove that atheism is the default position.
I mean, that's fair. So I would say that for anything, again, I'll bring it back to the glib glob, right? If somebody claims that glib glob is behind you, but there's no, I don't see any evidence for it, I would say that it is fair to assume that this glib glob doesn't exist until proven that it does exist.
No,
so
I'd say it's not fair to do that, especially when you haven't given me any properties or any definition of what glib glob is. I'd say that I have to say agnosticism because you haven't given me anything.
But no, properties were given. It's a being that is directly behind you. It can't be seen. It can't be felt. It can't be heard. There's no way to detect it, right? But it exists behind you. That's
so the only claim I can make at that point is I don't know. I can't say I don't believe it doesn't there. I just have to say I don't know. That is the only logical claim to make in that situation.
If you're talking about a knowledge claim, yes, but not a belief claim. Belief claims and knowledge claims are separate. Or do you not agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that, because your belief is how you live your life, right? Your belief is based off your knowledge claims, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I believe there's a certain amount of money in my bank account because of my knowledge that I have from seeing and looking at my bank account. Is it logically possible? Hold on. Is it logically possible somebody deposited $1 million in the last 5 minutes? Probably not. But it's all based off my knowledge claims. So if you're saying that there's this being that doesn't have any properties that's behind me, I can't say one way or the other because I have no knowledge towards these fifth dimensional, fourth dimensional beings. All I'd have to say is I don't know. It's unknown at this point, or it cannot be known.
Sure, but so there's no belief, right? You can't say like, oh, I don't believe in that. You just say I don't know and you stop there.
I'd have to be consistent, to be logical.
But then that would mean anything that anyone posits in the world, no matter how outlandish, no matter there's absolutely zero evidence for it.
You've given me this thing that has properties that I have no way of knowing. You're throwing it literally in the agnostic term that it cannot be known. You gave me a definition of something that cannot be known and asked me what I believe. I can't know because it cannot be known. It's agnosticism by definition.
No, I mean, okay, yes. For that specific example, yes. But okay, let's say, do you believe that there is a teapot orbiting Saturn right now?
No, but I have likely reasons to say that it's not, because I understand the context of teapots. I understand the context of orbiting things in space. So I'd say the probability is so low that I would say no. And that's how we operate in everything. We operate in probabilities, whether statistical or Bayesian.
But do you know that there's not a teapot?
We don't operate in knowledge claims of absolute certainty. There's nothing that we know for absolute, except for I know that I am. But I'm talking. Hold on. Let me land this plane, right? I'm sorry. So people, if I ask you, is evolution true? What are you going to say?
I would say almost definitely.
Almost definitely. That's what you're going to say, right? So you're going to say yes, it's true.
No, almost definitely, not 100%. I'm not trying to be difficult. I swear. I'm not trying to be difficult.
Yes, you are. Because you don't talk like this in real life. If somebody.
So maybe you just wouldn't be friends with me in real life, but I do talk like that in real life. I'm not trying to be difficult.
Are we having this conversation?
Almost definitely.
Yes, no, or maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe we're having this. So you're just going to take the term that literally everything that we look at is the agnostic viewpoint.
Yeah,
that's fine. Okay, so fine, take that argument. Then you can't say that there's any good reason to be atheist. Because you can't say no. You have to say maybe, because everything is maybe to you.
I would say everything is maybe in the terms of absolute knowledge, because I don't think that we can have absolute knowledge.
There's no good reason to claim atheism then.
Well, no, I still think there's good reasons to have beliefs, whether or not they're founded in absolute knowledge, because I don't think we can
define belief for me.
That's a good question. I would say belief is an idea of what you think to be true in the world.
Isn't that literally everything that you think then? Because you said you can't know for certain.
Everything's a belief.
So everything is a belief. So then what is the distinguishing factor between a knowledge claim and belief?
So a knowledge claim, sorry, hold on. The difference between a knowledge claim and a belief claim would be, I guess it would just be your level of certainty. And I do see, so it's like if you claim that you know something to be true, absolutely, that's saying like you have 100% belief that that thing is true. That would be like, I know
So
this
what
to be true.
percentage do you need it to be a knowledge claim versus a belief claim? What's the exact cutoff line?
199.9999 repeating. 100%, which I don't think we can have, is knowledge. And I would say that we don't
Okay. What is
really
the method?
operate in.
What is the
Go ahead.
methodology in determining whether or not something is 9.99 repeating?
What is the methodology?
Yeah.
I think that would be different for any
Okay,
claim.
so if it's subject and stance dependent, then we can't actually measure it, can we?
No, I'd say we can.
How do we measure it then?
I feel like we're getting very abstract. So, but I'm trying to get a specific example here. So, say the existence of a photon, right? You would have an apparatus where you can
So
measure.
I'm not looking for an example. I'm looking for a definition and a method.
But yeah, again, but I said that would depend on whatever you're measuring or whatever you're talking about. Like you can't have one blanket thing because for each claim, there's going to be a specific thing that you can.
We're talking about knowledge claims. So it's a logical thing. It's not a method in which you would test it in the real world. We're talking about how somebody can be certain within their mind that had that 99.99 ad infinitum percentage.
Oh, well, okay. Well, people can be certain in their minds without like I would say that for me personally, I operate that I know that I can't be certain, but I would say a lot of people think that they can be certain about things.
So then it's subjective. So then there's actually no way to determine if it's 99.9 repeating then, is it?
Sure.
Okay, so then we have no way to determine the difference between your agnostic viewpoint, which is saying you can't be certain, versus a belief in a knowledge claim.
Yeah, but I don't see how this really counteracts my original point because again, it's like it's just what I just believe. I mean, I'm agnostic about it because I can't know for sure.
If you can't give me the differentiating factors between a knowledge claim and a belief system, then when you're just saying it's my belief, that's ad hoc and arbitrary. And again, it's an irrational thing to hold.
No, I would disagree because again, just because we don't know something for certain doesn't mean we can't hold beliefs about them. Sure, I hold some beliefs stronger than others.
You're begging the question here because you're using the word belief for your explanation, but you haven't given me the separating factor between a knowledge claim and a belief.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I guess I just don't have a perfect separation between knowledge and like the only thing I could say is again, like I guess what I can say is that I don't believe we have 100% knowledge of anything, so we really can't make knowledge claims. We can only make belief claims.
So if we can't make knowledge claims, then literally everything you take this stance for is agnosticism. So by definition, you can't say that atheism is rational.
No, because maybe I can't make it rational for you, but for somebody who hasn't received, say, either personal revelation.
I'm not talking about informal logic. I'm talking about formal logic here. You cannot give a sound or coherent syllogism to come to your conclusion.
Okay, I'm just not sure how to respond to that. I'm sorry, but
yeah, so it's irrational.
Just because you can't put something into a logical
if by
syllogism,
definition
that means it's irrational.
Yeah, if by definition it's ad hoc or arbitrary, it just is because it is. It's an irrational thing to hold.
When did I say anything is because it is?
Well, then you need to give me an explanation on what the separating factor is and what constitutes
a
belief.
I thought you said that I said something just is because it is, and I don't remember.
You're saying belief is just a belief, and you're not giving me the definition of what separates belief from a knowledge claim. Because you're saying people can have beliefs and people can have knowledge claims, and I'm asking what's the difference?
And I would say that we can't have knowledge claims. We just have beliefs.
Okay, so if all we have is beliefs, right, and we can't have knowledge claims, then by definition it's irrational to hold to atheism.
Okay, under that same framework, then it would be irrational to be like theistic as well.
If we held to your viewpoint, yes, the only rational viewpoint you could take is agnosticism. I'm granting your worldview to show its absurdity. That the only thing that you can walk around doing is saying, I don't know. And
Well,
that's
yeah,
an
and
that's an that's an
I
that's
am
an
agnostic.
impossible way to operate in this world.
I mean, we operate based on our beliefs, sure.
You're begging the question because you're throwing that word belief in there, yet you haven't given me the separating factor.
No, I did. I did. I wasn't able to provide you with how we could come up with, the difference between knowledge and belief on a specific thing. I did say though that the difference between knowledge and belief is knowledge is 100%. We
Right. So
know
then there
something.
are no knowledge claims. So
Exactly.
everything is
Yeah,
agnosticism. So therefore, we can't trust or operate in anything.
I mean, you can just claim that, but substantiate that.
We don't operate that way. You're saying that we can't know anything.
So
So everything's
just because we don't
agnosticism.
operate that
Everything is maybe. But we don't operate that way. We have certainty. We would say that these things are more probable, these things are less probable. So therefore, I can make a knowledge claim. I can make the knowledge claim right now. I can make this knowledge claim, 100% certainty, that once I let go of this, it's going to fall and hit the floor. I could say that.
So there's nothing that could happen that would make that not happen. For 100% absolute certainty, there's nothing.
No, I lost it. Maybe specifically hitting the floor, but it's going to fall. I could say with absolute certainty that if I let go of this, it's going to fall.
How do you know though, for absolute certainty?
Wow,
I agree that it's going, but that's
because of
no,
because of probability.
You drop it
because of probability.
But it's not 100%. Nothing
right.
is 100%
We don't operate on 100%. We make knowledge We make knowledge claims based off of Bayesian or statistical probabilities.
Okay,
that's how we make knowledge
maybe,
claims.
Okay. Then let me revise. Maybe knowledge claim isn't at 100%. I don't know what the cutoff would be. Do you make that distinction or no?
No, you're the one making that distinction. That there's some sort of distinction between belief and knowledge claims. I'm not. I don't think there is a distinction between the two. Right? I believe that when I let go of this, it's going to fall.
Why do we have separate words for them if they're one and the same?
We have separate words for things that are the same thing all the time.
I mean, that's fine, but I'm just curious. So you think they're completely interchangeable? If you say you believe something and you know something, you think it's completely interchangeable. I'm just curious.
I think you can use. I think there's certain societal impact when you say belief and know. So you could say that, hey, yeah, I think that's true. But when I say the word belief towards people, it kind of implies that, yes, I'm pretty sure that's the case, but I'm not super confident. When I say I know, I'm just projecting my confidence in such a thing.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, again, I would just say that whenever it specifically comes to atheism, I still don't understand how you're getting the point that it's illogical to be an agnostic atheist because all agnosticism
those are contradictory terms.
No, I disagree because all agnosticism is just saying I don't know for sure.
Yeah, that's contradictory. Atheism is saying that God doesn't exist.
No, it's saying I don't believe God exists. It's not saying that God 100% doesn't exist.
So if atheism is saying I don't know if God exists, and agnosticism is saying I don't know if God exists.
No. I'm sorry. You're.
You just went full circle. You just went full circle.
Because I'm not making a knowledge claim.
Then give me the differing factor between a belief and a knowledge claim.
Belief. I don't have that specifically. I'm sorry. I'm not like a linguist. I don't have that specific definition.
Okay, so then it's ad hoc and arbitrary, and you're literally holding to an illogical stance.
I mean, maybe if I was better prepared for the difference between belief and knowledge, I could come up with that. But just because I don't have that doesn't mean it's ad hoc and arbitrary.
Yes, it is.
These are words.
Yes, if you don't know the reason that you're holding to that word, by definition, it's ad hoc. I'm not talking about in the philosophy of language or in its totality. I'm talking about you specifically. You don't know what it means, yet you're holding to it.
I mean, I would say I have like most people, I would argue, and with most things, we have kind of like vague ideas of what the words we use mean. Maybe we're not 100% certain on each one, but whenever you dig into the aspects of every word we use, sure, maybe I don't know the exact difference, but I feel like that's how almost everybody operates with almost every word we use.
I think this could just be answered in a simple question: is atheism true?
I would say no, because it's not a claim of truth.
Is theism true?
I don't believe so, but it is a claim of truth. I would give you that. Where that's the difference of atheism and theism to me.
Okay,
right?
if by definition theism and atheism are literally the same, two sides of the same coin, and one's making a truth claim, then the other would have to
They're
be
not
what?
two sides of the same coin.
Yes, it is. Theism, atheism.
Yeah, it means no theism. It's not. It's the antithesis of theism.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So it's not. So there's it. But exactly. So do you? I know you're laughing, but I'm trying.
Bro,
to
it's the
explain.
antithesis. So if theism is a truth
Yes.
claim, then
Can I-
atheism is what?
It's not a truth claim because it's the
Oh
antithesis.
my goodness. All right, I gotta go, bro. Appreciate your time.
No. Okay. All right.
Well, come on, man. Like, well, he left before I kicked him. I was gonna let him go, but all right. Let's bring up another guest. Oh, actually, hold on. Super based. The problem is atheists just want to hold a worldview, reject yours, and not actually make an argument for theirs. I got a bunch of super chats I haven't got into yet, by the way, so let's do that. RJ came in with $1.99. Said, "Here's my jizya. Appreciate you, bro." I'll skip the ones where you guys did the 20. Tebisol came in with 20 knocks. It says, "You want me to believe in a god that used to pop?" What? Lord Striker came in $2, says, "I'm eternity. I'm an attorney. Sale is not required in slavery." I need you to just join the lies and just like tell me the law when we do it, bro. What other? I think everything else was. Oh, let's do this one. Good to have you back. Best wishes. Thank you so much. Keep up the good old work, and I'm glad to see you back. Always praying for you and your wife. Thank you so much, Eric. I appreciate you. Tommy came in with the 10. Exodus 21:16. Capital penalty for man stealing. Also condemned by Paul in 1 Timothy 1:10. Glad to have you back. I pray for you and Abby as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jason came in with $5, says, "John, you've said many times you can't know 100% for sure if God exists." With like 100% certainty, I'd say no, I couldn't say 100%. Yeah. But I would say I know, as in I think the probability is very high. Just like I think the probability is very high my car is going to start tomorrow. So I'd say I know my car is going to start tomorrow. Is there a chance it won't? Maybe. I got you, bro. I got you. Neglecting the super chats today. That's my bad, guys. Let's do a few more for you guys. All right, let's bring in that guest. Nas, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, let me bring you in, man. All right, no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when in taco. Go ahead.
Well, I was calling in before to try to have a conversation with you, but again, you hung up on me saying I was saying the exact same thing.
Hey, look, I did it the third time. Bro screaming at his phone right now. Mother! All right, let's try again. CJ Ton. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man, let me bring you in. All right, no good reason to be Muslim, no good reason to be atheist. Prove me wrong when a taco. Go ahead.
So first of all, what I want to kind of touch on, hopefully it doesn't annoy the chat too much, is the distinction between knowledge and belief.
Okay.
And so what I want to do is I want everyone to frame it as a sort of Venn diagram. The three subsections of that, you have truth, you have knowledge, and you have belief. So truth is on one side, knowledge is in the middle, and belief is on the other side. So you can believe something that isn't true. There can be something true that you don't believe. And knowledge is when you believe something where there is sufficient evidence that that thing is true. And so that is just basically, that's the basis of like the philosophy of knowledge, belief, and truth.
Right. So like I said,
so
like I originally said, I would use the word belief in my level of confidence.
Yeah, so you can't know something, but you can believe something. And agnosticism is a state of knowledge. So because I can't know that something is or isn't true, I state that I am agnostic about that knowledge. But when it comes to what I believe, I can say that I believe even if I don't know something is true, or if I don't know something, I can still believe something. Does that make sense?
Yes, baby.
Don't forget our friend.
Yeah, I got time, don't I?
No, he's off at 4.
He hasn't messaged me yet.
Okay.
Sorry, say that again.
So basically what I can say is that I can be agnostic about a knowledge claim because I can say that I don't know whether or not that thing is true, but I can still believe something even if I don't know it, because that's like the principle of philosophy when it comes to knowledge, belief, and truth. Like this is like foundational principles of philosophy.
Yeah, so it's just going to be levels of confidence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and so that's why
fine.
someone can theoretically be an agnostic atheist because they don't know something.
No, those
but they
two things
believe
are
something.
those things are contradictory.
Okay. So
like
so,
you could
so
say I'm
the thing is-
atheist. You could say I'm atheist, but my confidence in that isn't very strong.
Yes, but by saying the confidence isn't very strong, that's the state of knowledge. So that's when you say that's where agnostic comes in. So agnosticism is a state of knowledge. I can be agnostic about something or another. Just to be very clear on my position, to throw a real curveball in here, I would classify myself as more of an agnostic theist in that I don't know whether or not a God is or isn't there. But if you were to kind of press me and hold a gun to my head to say what I believe, I would tend towards the belief that a God probably is there in some way, shape, or form, probably close to Bachman.
So you're a theist. You're just not confident in it.
Yeah. So no, but
you can't say maybe and yes at the same time. Those are contradictory terms. You can say yes, but you can say my confidence is low. You can say the probability is not as high as I would hope it would be.
And so we're having a polysemic statement here, in that when I say agnostic, what I mean and what the word means is not being sure about a state of knowledge of whether or not God exists. And so I can say that I don't know whether or not this God exists because I don't know. So I would be an agnostic. But if you were to say, what do I believe if you hold a gun to my head, even if I don't know what's true, I would say that there is more likely than not that a God, some form of something we could define as God probably does exist. Do you see what I mean?
Okay, so what's the argument for atheism?
Oh, so if we want to go for like there's no good reasons to be atheist or Muslim. I think it's important to at least have that discussion for people when it comes to like agnosticism and atheism. I think that's quite an important point. Again, I think when it comes to good reasons to be something, the questions I would ask is there good reasons to believe something that, like, for example, I mean, actually, here's the question I want to pose to you. Actually, is what makes it a good reason to believe in something or not believe in something?
So if it's logically sound, that'd be a really good reason to believe it. So for example, I have 100% confidence you cannot have a square round circle. So that'd be something that's logically sound.
But obviously not everything logically sound makes it something you should believe.
Yep, it literally does.
So so if I make a logically sound statement, I should believe that it's true.
Yeah, so if you give a syllogism where I agree with the premises and the conclusion logically follows from it, unless I can give a symmetry breaker or know of a symmetry breaker, then it must be true. Now, I might be ignorant towards that symmetry breaker, but if there is no symmetry breaker for that, then it must be true.
No, so I mean, I suppose I can appreciate that. I guess I'm talking about kind of like philosophical belief systems. Like, for example, if we look at maybe like I'd use a sort of deontological, I'm not a vegan, but like a veganist argument, like the idea that like we shouldn't eat animals, we shouldn't exploit animals, that sort of thing. Like, are there good reasons to be vegan in that regard? Like, even though you could make logically sound arguments for being vegan.
If they're logically sound, and I agree with the premises, and it logically comes to the conclusion, if I did not hold to it at that point, then I would be a hypocrite and I'd be irrational for holding my beliefs.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. And so basically, you're saying that. But you'll admit that there are almost undoubtedly logically sound arguments there that you don't know and don't hold to because you don't believe them.
What?
So because of that, you've got to admit that you don't know every syllogism out there.
No.
And so it's reasonable to assume that there are syllogisms out there that you don't know, and if they were to become true, you would then therefore then believe them.
If you presented me a syllogism for or at least a logically sound conversation, like a modus ponens or modus tollens type of conversation, that led us to the conclusion that I should be a vegan, and I couldn't find a reason to disagree with the premise or add a symmetry breaker so it doesn't lead to that conclusion, then I would actually be ad hoc or arbitrary to no longer be a vegan, and I'd be irrational to continue eating meat.
No, okay, no, I think we can find agreement there. No, I completely agree with that. I guess, okay, so I want to, I mean, I think is I don't want to take too much time. I think I've had a couple of discussions with you on sort of my status on Christianity, and why I'm not a Christian. And again, my points on why people should or shouldn't be certain things is somewhat based off of what it means to be something, and like what it means to. I'm coming out as a Jordan Peterson style thinker, but what it means to like be a Muslim and what it means to be. Yeah, exactly. What do you mean by be? But what does it mean to be an atheist, and what does it mean to be a Muslim? And is that contingent on the fact that for an atheist it means that you have to make the positive claim that there is no God, or if you for a Muslim you have to be having a gun held to your head that you believe that Allah exists? And so that's what I mean by belief. So belief would be typically classified as something that even if you can't be sure it's true or you can't know it's true, if you would effectively die for said belief. Now it sounds like a really weird way of framing it, okay, but it's something where.
But here's the thing: if you're just going to frame it as this belief is this thing of confidence, and so therefore an atheist can just be atheist because they lack that belief, then you have no basis to go around and tell a theist that they have to have give you some sort of evidence or some sort of grounding to have a belief.
Yeah, no, but you could say an atheist is just the belief that there is no God, not lack of belief in a God.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is they claim that they believe that there is no God, and what atheists do is no, we lack the belief in a God. That's what they do. And so maybe not you, but my claim is that what they're actually doing is they're saying they believe that there is no God, so therefore they have a burden just like Christians have a burden. So when a Christian says I believe there's a God, we have a burden, we have something to present. Right? If you say, I believe there is no God, then you also have a burden. You have something to present. You have to give me a sound reason why I have to reject deity.
Oh, so no, I would agree there. I think the arguments they can come with is the similar like probabilistically. Like if something is highly improbable to exist, they can say that is the reason for them not believing that said thing exists, and that's a valid argument for why you shouldn't believe in something. Is if there isn't like probability for that. But I think the key thing I want to get to is sort of like Muslims specifically, in that they even if something isn't true, so even if they don't know it's true and they don't know something exists, they can still technically be a Muslim through belief. Like they can believe in Allah even if they haven't been presented. For example, the same way you don't know some syllogisms could exist in the world, Muslims in other countries who haven't been exposed to alternative syllogisms could still be a Muslim.
Yeah, I don't see it as being a reason or a sound reason to be a Muslim.
But by definition, it's a good reason to be a Muslim because they've only been presented with syllogisms that agree with their initial belief and faith. So if they've only seen syllogism, okay, yeah.
No, I wouldn't agree with that. Like, what syllogism would they be presented with?
Well, okay, so they begin to be presented with the idea of, so they can get to the same stage as you with regards to whether or not there is a God of some form. So they get to the point of theism.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then what happens is in Muslim countries where all they're presented to and all they're educated for is Muslim like teachings, then if all they're taught is being a Muslim and all the syllogisms they've been taught is being a Muslim.
Yeah, this is just ad populum.
No, it's not ad populum. I'm not saying because it's popular. I'm saying because they've only been presented syllogisms that agree with what they believe. If you've admitted the syllogisms that don't work within their belief system, they are still justified to believe that because they haven't been presented with alternative syllogisms.
They have to be presented with something that is logically sound and coherent to hold to it. What were they presented with?
If they're presented with God is real, if God is real.
That's a conclusion.
What?
You're starting with the conclusion.
Oh, sorry, because you're starting with the same premise that theists start with. So theists start with the premise that God is real. If you're having a debate with any other like different denomination, you initially start with an agreement.
Give me the rest. Yeah, okay. If God is real.
Yeah, so God is real as initial premise, and then they go, if God is real, then God's scripture is correct, which is the scripture they believe is the Quran, because they haven't been presented with any alternate scripture. So
right, but their problem with that is they're concluding that God would give a scripture. So that's not logically sound.
No, actually, then you've got to start with the different thing, which is Quran exists.
Okay.
And God exists. So you can start with those two premises. So we have the revelation from God. We have God exists. If God exists and we have a revelation from God and we have no reason to disbelieve that revelation from God through alternative evidence, then we should believe that the revelation came from God.
So if they have no reason to not believe that it can come from God, then they must think it must come from God?
Yeah, if they have no alternative evidence to that thing coming from God, and they believe that...
You think that's logically sound?
Okay, why is it not logically sound?
So do I have any evidence right now on me that this didn't come from God?
No, but it doesn't claim to have come from God, but the Quran claims to have come from God.
So if I say to you, this came from God, do you have any evidence that it didn't come from God?
No, I don't. But it's somewhat different when it comes to the Quran because of the. It's sort of, it comes with the principles. I guess. Yeah. Okay. Let me. If you give me a second, I will think about it. But it's the concept of, what's the term? But no, I mean, I would say that yes, but it's the term is eluding me. Sorry.
All right. Well, you got to hurry up because I just got my text message. So I got to go.
I've definitely got to hurry up. No, I definitely got to hurry up. I think we've got lots. There's lots of discussions to be had. But I've had some of these discussions with you. I think what's the point? It's going to be that effectively, okay. Here's the core of the argument is that there are good reasons to be Muslim for people who haven't been exposed to or would otherwise be left meaningless if they weren't to believe in the Quran.
So it's good reason to believe things because of feelings?
It's a good thing to believe things if you haven't been presented evidence up to otherwise.
So what's the evidence that this didn't come from God?
Well, no. Sorry. The good reason is there's good reason to believe things if you haven't been presented with like the principle of falsifiability. If you haven't been presented with a falsifiable, with something that falsifies what you believe, you've got good reason to believe it.
Okay, so if I believe this is from God and nobody can prove to me that it didn't come from God, then I have good reason to believe that this is from God?
You're using the teapot. So if I say there's a teapot floating around Mars, you have no way of proving that a teapot isn't floating around Mars, and so you should believe that there's a teapot floating around Mars.
Right. Sure. So again, is it a good reason to me believe that this is from God if I believe this is from God and nobody can show me that it's not from God?
Well, no, because the probability is low.
Okay,
but obviously within the Quran,
somebody tells them that the Quran's from God. Nobody showed them it's not from God. It's not a good reason for them to think it's from God.
No, but the way they show them that it is from God is through the evidence of evidence. I'm putting air quotes of prophecies being attained, and all of those, and the prophecies within the Quran that are. That have come true. Again, I'm using air quotes. And so if they believe that,
So they're just saying they believe in the prophecy. They have to investigate it.
Yeah, no, but
if they don't investigate it, they're holding it to arbitrarily.
Yes, no, but if you look at the prophecies that have come true within the Quran,
what?
With regards
what
to
prophecy?
sort of.
What prophecy came true?
Oh, it's the identification of every human through fingertips. So that was one that it
That's
came
not
up.
in the Quran.
Which, yes, it is in the Quran.
No, it's not.
Okay. But yeah. 2 seconds. Let me.
I gotta go though, man. So I don't have time for you to look
Okay,
up
well,
verses.
you've got to know. I mean, it is in the Quran from fingertips. I mean, it literally. I can't remember the exact. It's in the final two books of the Quran, I believe.
I've read the Quran. I never read that.
It. Yes. What you? Okay. It's in Surah Al-Qiyamah 75:3-4.
Are you Muslim?
No, but I've
Say
read the
Muhammad's a
Quran.
false prophet.
Muhammad's a false prophet.
Okay. All right. I gotta go though, man. But I appreciate you.
Okay, but could you at least, can we agree to that you'll read Surah Al-Qamar to just see if that's an actual thing in the
No,
fingertips
probably not.
thing?
I don't care enough.
Okay, well, no, then you're done. No, fair enough. But I think that's interesting. Anyway, you've been a great interlocutor and nice chat, and I always appreciate having these discussions with you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. God bless.
Okay, God bless. Bye.
Also, somebody who said to me earlier, I wanted to point it out, but I didn't want to cut them off. They said to me, be like Jesus, don't insult people. Read your damn Bible. Read your damn Bible, guys. Jesus insulted the most amount of people. Now that I'm not Jesus, obviously, but he did. He literally did. All right, I got to go. I love you all. Let's do a quick prayer, and I'll do a quick plug, and then we're out. Our Father is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessings. Thank you for all that you've given. Thank you for these wonderful conversations, such a great community. I ask that you use this live to ultimately draw people into your kingdom, because this is what we're doing it for, Lord, ultimately to build your kingdom and what you want, what you desire. Just continue to walk with us, correct us, put it on the right path, and forgive us of our sins. In Jesus' name, amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit. All right, guys, you know what to do. Go follow me on all platforms, YouTube, subscribe to me there. We go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I put out 2 videos a week. We got a Patreon where I do daily Bible studies as well. So we're currently going through the Gospel of John. You can subscribe there. And then we also post our Hangout sessions, which we do Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you want to watch that, or if you don't have time and you miss it, those are the places to do it. I love you all. You're all sexy, especially you. You specifically, you are the sexiest person I have ever seen. No, I'm not talking about somebody else. I'm talking about you. You're extremely sexy. I love you guys, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.